Welcome to the final deadline stream of the season for UCL Fantasy Matchday 13. It has been a blast, and around this time last year, I think we had 3,000 subscribers if I'm not mistaken, so the growth has been amazing. Thank you very much to everyone who has been tuning in. I'm going to go through your questions as always, and I'm going to try to cement a place in the top 1k. Anything else would be a bonus, and I'd be very happy with that. I'm not going to be confirming my transfers until I see the Liverpool lineup, but we have got the Madrid lineup, so we're going to talk about that very shortly. But let's get through your questions. Welcome, Yogesh. You asked about my F1 team. I've actually released a team selection video, and I pretty much did exactly what I said I would do. And that video was recorded after the first two practice sessions, and then after FP3, I finalised my team. So I think my main team was Sainz, Charles Leclerc as my turbo driver, Sergio Perez, Magnussen and Lando Norris with Ferrari as my constructors. So all in all, pretty good. And I wasn't really liking the look of Bottas all weekend, and therefore I got rid of him for my main team. But I think he features in my second and third teams, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, thank you, El Padrino. The Madrid lineup is out. We're going to talk about that very shortly. No surprises there, although a few weeks ago, I think it was after the City game, Ancelotti was saying that Rodrigo's going to start the Champions League final. Well, that's not going to be the case. Aiden says, hi Dylan, my team is Alison, Edison, Trent, Canati, Cancelo, Thiago Silva, Laporte, Mane, Salah, Fabinho, Casemiro, Mahrez, Jesus, Vinicius, Benzema with 0.2 million and no chips. What should I do? I mean, there's not really any reason to panic. You're in a good position. You've got most of the key players for Liverpool, for example, and you've got Karim Benzema and Vinicius Jr. So really, the only changes I would make is Jesus to Diaz or Jota, depending on who starts for Liverpool. I'd also perhaps look at moving Mahrez to Modric. I think that is definitely something I'd look to do. And then looking at the rest of your team, I think one of your defenders, you could just do Cancelo to make it easier. You can move Cancelo to Robertson, for example, and then maybe get a Madrid defender for Laporte or Thiago Silva. Or you can actually replace Edison with Courtois and start the Belgian keeper and then go for a kind of similar backline and team overall to what I talked about in my best team selection video for the Limitless and Wildcard, as well as my own team selection. The lineup is out for Madrid, not for Liverpool though, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, as Aiden says. Welcome Matin, welcome Hossam. Ezra says, what is better, to go for a back four Liverpool with Courtois goalkeeper, or go for a back three and five midfielders? Completely up to you. I personally prefer the 3-4-3 formation, which I talked about in my team selection, so not even 3-5-2 as you say. So I would want either Diaz or Jota, depending on who starts, with Vinicius and Benzema as the front three. And then as the midfield four, I would want Modric, probably Fabinho, Salah and Mane, and then a back three with Courtois in goal. That's the way I'd go about it. In terms of what you propose, I think if I had to pick one, it would be four defenders instead, but I'm not expecting a clean sheet, to be fair. So yeah, what else do we have? Lucas says, hi Dylan, how are you? I'm good. What about you? I need a bit of your advice, please. Which third Liverpool defender should I go for? Van Dijk or Robertson? I'm probably going to play a Liverpool back three. Thank you, Luca. It means a lot. I think it's a very tough one. And normally it's kind of a no-brainer or quite an easy decision and go for Robertson. But ball recoveries are actually in Van Dijk's favour. I think both of them are great options, but because of the attacking threat, I still think I'd go for Robertson. But it's very, very close in UCL Fantasy, I think. Welcome, Vincent. Nice to see you. Good to see you as well. Vincent, thank you very much for tuning in. So glad I chose Norris over Gasly. I actually chose Gasly for my third team to go a bit different there. That was a disaster bit. I mean, I was going to say he can make up places in the race. Very unlikely. But if the rain obviously causes some upsets, you never know what could happen. Bottas has potential to gain positions. Yeah, it's just Monaco though. That's what really puts me off. I mean, look, there's still the possibility to make some overtakes, but it will probably be minimal unless the rain has something to say about that. 5 Liverpool at the back for differential, or just one player like Rodrigo? If you want to go differential, I'd rather go for Rodrigo, but you are counting a lot on him coming off the bench with 20-30 minutes to spare, maybe even more if it goes extra time, and then delivering, which he has done in the past, but it is very risky. That's what I would say, Martin. Do the bench players matter at all on this match day? No. So just look at the lineups and then make your final decision. As long as you have 11 starting players, you're fine. And there's no need to have any good players on the bench. For example, last year I think I had a full 11 and maybe 2 or 3 players on my bench, and actually had the likes of Kante sitting there, and he didn't start for me, and he actually outscored some of my main players. Getting Benzema, Alison, Militao, Trent, Modric, Kroos, that's pretty fair enough. I think if I had to pick one Madrid defender, it probably would be Militao. If not, it definitely probably would be Ferland Mendy. Although Alaba is actually the second highest scoring defender left in the competition. I like Trent, of course. Alison and Benzema make sense. However, I do prefer Courtois over Alison, personally. Benzema's a no-brainer. I think you have to have him, and Yeah, I'm surprised you got him at this point. I thought you would have got him earlier. Modric and Kroos, that's good. I like Modric especially. Kroos, not so much, to be fair. No, okay, of course, it's definitely not my final team. I still have to make my 5 transfers. Like I said, I'm not going to make them or finalise them until I see the Liverpool lineup. There's no need for me to do them already, I think. Is there any chance for Mercedes to fight for the constructors? There's a minimal chance, but I still think there is a slight possibility. I think it's going to be Red Bull or Ferrari. If I had to hazard a guess, it would be Red Bull, but it's going to be very close, I think. And in qualifying, Ferrari are significantly better, I'd say, than Red Bull in most races. But when it comes to the actual race, Red Bull have that better race pace. So it should be a great battle. And then you look at these kind of different tracks and how they favour Red Bull, and then maybe they favour Ferrari. So Monaco is just perfect for Ferrari. Slow corners. Red Bull want the straights. It's kind of a reversal of last season when Red Bull were very good for the corners. And in terms of the straight line speed, Mercedes had it. So kind of a different juxtaposition there. But yeah, I think... I personally think Red Bull will win it. I think Mercedes will finish third in the constructors, probably McLaren fourth, maybe Alfa Romeo fifth, if I had to hazard a guess. Between Alfa Romeo and Alpine, dare I say. I'm surprised at AlphaTauri in Monaco because they were looking very strong, especially Gasly in the free practice sessions. I thought they'd do better on Saturday anyway. What's your prediction for tonight's final? That's a great question. I think I'm going to go for my team right now, or my prediction. So let's see. Let me change the screen here. So this is my prediction at the moment, but I need to see the Liverpool lineup. I don't know, to be honest. I think Madrid are, well, it is their competition really, so you can never rule them out. And I think they've won their last 7 Champions League finals. The last time they lost was to Liverpool, but they did also beat Liverpool in 2018. So this should be a great contest. And if you actually look at the head-to-head record, I think Madrid have 4 victories, Liverpool have 3, Madrid have 10 goals scored, and Liverpool have 8 goals. So very, very close. And Liverpool, in my opinion, are the better team. If you did a combined 11, I think it'd mainly be Liverpool, in my opinion. But very, very close. I think it's very hard to tell where this final is going to go. This looks a bit contradictory, by the way, where I've got Liverpool to score first, but I've also got Benzema to score first. That's really because from Liverpool, maybe Mane is the one that I'd expect to score. But for me, Benzema... If Madrid score, it most likely will be down to him. And I got the booster activated. Just remember, if you are playing the predictor, by the way, activate the booster. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on some easy free points, basically. You're basically captaining your prediction. Who am I supporting for the final? I was asked this a few days ago. I'm actually not supporting anyone. I'm not really a huge fan of either team. Like, obviously, I can appreciate what Liverpool have done this season. They've gone the furthest and the closest of securing a quadruple. Then you've got Madrid, who obviously have a lot of history and pedigree. But I don't necessarily like either club in a way, so yeah, I'm just a neutral. Whatever happens, happens. You hoping for rain tomorrow in Monaco? From an F1 fantasy perspective, not necessarily. I mean, it could help the likes of Magnussen and maybe Bottas in my other teams, but I'm very happy with, most of my players in my first team, and I'd like them to stay in those positions. But in terms of, taking F1 fantasy out of the equation, I would want some rain because it spices things up. Because normally in Monaco, you just know what's going to happen, from Saturday to Sunday, unless there's a DNF, a mechanical failure, reliability issues. So honestly, I am hoping for it as a neutral and taking F1 fantasy out of the equation. Rate my F1 team Leclerc as my turbo, really good, and so far he's doing the business. But remember, in the race he has a really bad record there, because even last season he got pole, just couldn't actually start the race because of the crash at the end. Max, yeah, obviously for me the best driver on the grid, but he has been poor this weekend. I think Perez has been a step above, but if Perez and Sainz have some issues, then Verstappen could be second on the grid tomorrow, but that's all speculation, really. Albon, I'm not a big fan of. He was a good kind of driver to get in because of his price increasing, but I'm not really expecting too much from him tomorrow. Bottas, I think, is a great option long-term, not necessarily this weekend. And Magnussen, yeah, I think he's just a great option in general, probably the best enabler in the whole game. So what I would probably do, Manish, is do something similar to what I have for my own team, my first team, and I would look to get in probably Perez. I think he's a great option. You can do Verstappen to Perez, and then also get Carlos Sainz or Lando Norris. I think those are the kind of better options there. Perhaps for Albon and Max Verstappen and probably Valtteri Bottas. It just depends on how you want to go about it. And remember your constructor. Yeah, Ferrari, very, very strong. I think that's the best constructor in Monaco. I talked about this in my video yesterday as well, just looking at the practice sessions. Quite interesting. We're getting a lot of F1 questions today. We will be looking to do kind of a deadline stream probably in the future. If enough people obviously are engaged and we want to do some kind of deadline streams and do some some back and forth, we could do some kind of shorter sessions, maybe half an hour to an hour, and then talk about our F1 teams as I lock it in, really. So that could be something to look at, especially during the summer. But I will be quite transparent with you during the normal FPL season to kind of go through all that normal content for FPL, the streams. I typically do like 2 a week when there's a game week coming up. UCL Fantasy, when that's around the corner, and F1, that's a lot of, eggs, not even in one basket, in 3 different baskets. So that will be quite difficult to go through. But let me go through the Liverpool lineup. Let's go through that. That's what I really want to go through. So if you haven't seen already, this is what Liverpool, or should I say Madrid, are lining up as. Courtois in goal, Carvajal, Militao, Alaba, and also Fellaini, Mendy, Kroos, Casemiro and Modric as, well, and Valverde you could say, there as the midfield 4. Could be a 4-3-3 as well. And Vinicius Jr. and Benzema there. So, pretty much what we expected, although that Rodrigo comment by Ancelotti a few weeks ago did put me off because he did say, he's going to start the final, and in the end he hasn't. But he has been so good as a super sub, so why change a winning formula? And I just don't think it would have been ideal to go for Rodrigo. I think Madrid needs something to counteract Liverpool's potent attack. So pretty much what you'd expect. I'm waiting for the Liverpool lineup. If you see it, then let me know. And thank you very much for tuning in. It's much appreciated. Obviously, I know at the end of the season, UCL Fantasy, it kind of calms down a little bit. Most people are engaged, I say, at the beginning. The same can be said about FPL as well. But let's try to get this stream to 100 likes. It'd be much appreciated. And it's been a blast all season. I'm going to be kind of browsing through the internet and seeing if Liverpool have their lineup. And once they do, we'll be talking about that very shortly. And I'll be locking in my transfers. So let's wait and see. But as things stand, Liverpool haven't announced their lineup. Madrid always do this. They always release it so early. It's kind of insane, to be honest. I mean, normally they actually release it around 6:20. They've already released it at like 5:40, which is absolutely bonkers. But let's get back to your questions. No, Alex, this isn't F1 Fantasy. It's UCL Fantasy. It's just a few questions thrown in. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking about F1 Fantasy as well, to be fair. Let's see. So what else have we got? I've got a few questions I haven't been able to go through. Sudindra, welcome. I'm doing well. What about you? Good to see you here. Who do you think will score tonight? I think Mane, yeah. Ezra, I think Mane and Benzema will score. I'm not exactly sure about the scoreline. I might even change the 2-1 prediction for Liverpool that I have currently. Evening, fancy Madrid tonight, yeah. Their run to the final has been insane. That is true. I think their run has been far tougher than Liverpool's, but then again, it's about winning the games and beating what's in front of you. Liverpool have hardly faced a real test and gone 0-0 in their previous finals, bias aside. True, but I mean, you could also say how were there not goals in those 2 finals, especially the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. I mean, there should have been goals in that one, but yeah, I think there will be goals in this one. Both teams will score. And Madrid are just mentality monsters in the Champions League. Against City, for example, against the far superior team, they were down and out. They get their first shot on target and they go on to win the game. Absolutely crazy. As a City fan, I want both teams to lose, honestly, but slightly moving towards and supporting Madrid. Fair enough. I mean, if I was a City fan, I'd probably share your sentiment there. But either way, I'm a neutral here. I don't really like or dislike either team that much, you could say. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Welcome, Nabil. I would go for Courtois, and I would go for more Liverpool defenders, personally. Who do you actually support in F1? Driver-wise, I support Verstappen. My team historically is Ferrari because I'm a Schumacher fan. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind if Red Bull win this one, pretty much. Verstappen's my favourite driver because he reminds me the most of Schumacher, so yeah, it's probably him. Oh, you're right, Rodrigo's bench, so I would go for 4-3-3. Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go, yeah. Let me just see. But yeah, we've got the lineup here. Let me know what you think of this and what are your predictions. I want to see what you guys think and what you girls think about the actual final score between these 2 great clubs and who's going to score. That would be great to see. And I'm going to finalise my UCL predictor as well in the meantime. But let's go back to my team. Once again, I'm not going to finalise anything until I see the Liverpool lineup. So just let's wait and see. Did you hear that Leclerc might get a penalty for not stopping at the weight control? I heard something like that, but I didn't see the full details. I mean, that would be crazy, isn't it? That's kind of a continuation of the curse. But I need to actually, because I saw the qualifying, but I kind of tuned off as soon as it finished. And I'm going to go back to it and see if there's any kind of extra details afterwards. Yeah, it is the legit lineup, Goldhead. So no surprises there for Real Madrid. My transfers are KDB to Mane, Mahrez. Oh, I'm guessing, no. Yeah, that's kind of a separation. Yeah, KDB to Mane, perfectly fine. Mahrez to Kroos. What I would say, Mohammed, is if you don't have Modric, I personally prefer Modric over Cruz, but go with what you think. Jesus to Vinicius, yep, really good. Jota to Diaz, I completely agree with all of those moves. But if you don't have Modric, I would go for him over the German. But looks really good, Mohammed. 177 to the World Cup, can't wait for it. Yeah, I mean, time's going to fly. You know, before you know it, we're going to be in the World Cup, probably doing World Cup fantasy content as well. Looks like Norris has been more accurate this season when you compare practice and qualifying positions. Exactly. He was very consistent as well during all the practice sessions. I think he finished 5th and 6th today, and then he finished 5th. So he's a very reliable driver, very consistent. There's not a huge disparity between the practice sessions and the actual qualifying. So hopefully he can secure in the race as well. Prediction, Liverpool 1, Salah to score. Real Madrid 2, Benzema 2. That's a good prediction. I like that, Marcus. And if any of you have any more predictions, I'd like to see that. Yeah, I agree, Manish. I think Benzema will win Ballon d'Or. But if Mane wins the Champions League, you never know. You know, he's got a lot of trophies in his cabinet. Who would you captain? I'm probably going for Benzema, but it's between him and Mane, I think. I'm still considering Salah, but for me, it's between Mane and Karim Benzema. Also, I got the final bang in my bracket. Did it way back to... Oh, fair play, yeah. I actually predicted City-Liverpool final, and for some reason I went for City to win it. I kind of already immediately regretted it, even before they got knocked out. I just had a feeling Liverpool would win it as we approached the kind of latter stages of the competition. Do penalty shootouts count at all in UCL Fantasy? In terms of points, they don't. They don't count. Dylan, when will the prices for FPL come out next season? I can't give you an exact timeline, but last year I think it was early July, and that was a bit later than usual. So within the next month or so, we should be able to see some price rises, or should I say price announcements, and then we'll actually be able to make a team for next season. And there, obviously, the content will kick up for next season. But I'm also planning to do some videos beforehand, so I'll let you guys know. Yeah, exactly, Christian. Penalty shootouts don't count. Regardless of the score, I predict the match will go to extra time. Yeah, I think that's possible, Patrick. I think it's highly likely. Maybe even a penalty shootout. If you look at the finals Liverpool have played in this season, yes, both of them against Chelsea, but both of them did go to penalties, so that is definitely possible. 3-2 Mane, Firmino, Salah, and Vinicius Benzema. I like that prediction. Imagine that, the kind of original front three all scoring. Firmino will not start, I think. He might come off the bench, though, and you just never know what could happen. Currently rank 120 in UCL. Wow. What do you think I could aim for? I think the sky's the limit for you. Now, look, it's still possible, but first will still be very hard to reach. And I said this in my previous videos as well. It's very difficult to make up rank for the final because everyone's pretty much going to have the same team. I mean, if we look at it, everyone's going to have Benzema, Salah, Mane, Trent, Robertson probably, but then there's a kind of few differences that you could maybe seek. So Alison or Courtois, that could be a 50-50 decision in your favour. Maybe going for a differential like Rodrigo. The captaincy itself, maybe instead of going for Benzema, you could go for Sadio Mane or someone else. Just depends on how you feel. And then there's a few other things. Maybe you can back Madrid defence more so than Liverpool, because I think most people, including myself, would back the Liverpool defence more so. And I'm actually going to go for 3 Liverpool defenders and Courtois as my only Real Madrid defensive coverage. So I think top 100 is definitely possible, and you never know what you could do. You could, you know, sneak into the top 50 or even higher, but it's still very difficult in the final, I think. Yes, Rick, I have Instagram. It's DylanRCM. So I think in Twitter it's DylanRCM altogether, but in Instagram it's Dylan_RCM. It's very easy to find. Liverpool 2-2 Madrid, then Liverpool win on penalties. Really good prediction. A lot of people actually backing Liverpool, I see, although I saw a few Real Madrid fans, or at least people who back them to win. 3-0 Liverpool, wow. I'd be very shocked, to be honest, if that happened, but you never know. I think it's such a difficult game to call. 3-0, wow, that's the biggest scoreline I've seen so far. Greetings, Dylan, and football fans from sunny Florida. Enjoy yourself, mate. It's always sunny over there. Van Dijk must be excellent today for Liverpool to snatch the silverware. Yes, I think certain players will be crucial. Not just Benzema for Madrid, but also Modric. He could be such a key component. The way I look at it, and by the way, I want to see your guys' opinions, obviously. If you've got any kind of different ideas, let me know. I think Madrid have the better midfield. As good as Thiago is, and you know, Fabinho is arguably the best defensive midfield in the world, I think Madrid's midfield in general is slightly better. Then you look at the defences, Madrid's is quite weak compared to Liverpool's. Then you look at the attacks. Yes, Benzema is probably the best player in the world right now, but I'd argue Liverpool's attack overall is better. They've got the better team overall. You could argue it's the better manager. Goalkeeper's very, very close, I think, especially this season. But In terms of combined 11, if you want to see that, let me know. We could do kind of a quick one very shortly. Fair enough, Mohammed. Yeah, in that case, go for it. I think Cruz could be a decent differential. I like it. I predict Liverpool to win the Champions League. Yeah, for me, it was between Liverpool or City to win the Champions League. You think Mane will leave Liverpool and go Bayern? I mean, based on his comments, it does seem quite likely, doesn't it? I think he says something like he wants his farewell at Liverpool to go, great, obviously, and to kind of have a send-off with the Champions League trophy. So it does seem like he is going to leave, but nothing's confirmed yet, and things can change very quickly in football, especially when it comes to deals. Not supporting either side, but looking for a great football game. Exactly the same here, where he's saying, last year I really wanted City to win, they let me down. This year I have no attachment. Don't play UCL Fantasy, but just here to say, I hope there are no red cards or stupid refereeing decisions. I mean, I'd say on the whole, there has been a bit, questionable calls in the Champions League, but on the whole, it's not been as bad as FPL, or the Premier League, should I say. So, you never know, and I'm not trying to send for any Madrid fans in here, but there is a history of Madrid having a few kind of, let's say, funny decision-making in their favour. Barcelona is another example, but let's wait and see. It should be a great game. It's going well, Tezza. What about you? Thank you for tuning in. I'm 175th in your league. Target is to get into the top 100. Good luck with that, Raja. That's a really good rank. And actually, thank you for reminding me. So thank you to everyone for joining the Dylan RCM League. As you can see, we've got a kind of weird league name on the bottom left-hand corner. But I think we have the most members of any UCL Fantasy League around. So thank you very much for tuning in to these videos, joining the league, and seeing if you can, finish in the top ranks there. So much appreciated. That's all I can really say. Good luck, Raja, into finishing into the top 100 in that. And if you do, you're probably going to have a great rank overall. Yeah, I agree, Mohammed. I think Courtois is my preference over Alison, but there's not much to choose between them. I mean, I'm ranked 6th overall, and there is no chance for number 1. I mean, I will be honest, I haven't actually checked recently in terms of the differences between, the ranks like 1 to 100, but you just never know. I just think it's very unlikely to claw up, huge rank, because most people, especially in the higher ranks, will have similar teams. So unless you kind of nail the differentials and certain players like Benzema go quiet in your favour, it's very difficult. What's the secret of being at number 1 position? Well, I'll be honest, I'm not really the guy to ask that, because I've never been in number 1 in UCL Fantasy. I'm in a good rank and I'm happy with it. I mean, all I can do is really speculate with that. In terms of to do the best possible in UCL Fantasy, is very similar to FPL. You've got to be patient. I think one key difference between UCL Fantasy and FPL is the hits. In FPL, you've got more double game weeks. You've got 38 overall. In UCL Fantasy, you only have 30 match days. So try to avoid hits. I think I've only taken -4 hits in UCL Fantasy all season. And in FPL, I think I've taken -40, so 10 times the amount. So I think that is one key difference, and I think that factors into the patience kind of advice that I offered around a week or two ago when I talked about FPL and kind of a reaction stream to Game Week 38. So yes, I think patience is a virtue, especially in these fantasy games, and also I think doing research. Kind of at least checking the scores and checking, who's injured, who's playing well, who's in form, and watching a few games here and there if you can, especially in the Champions League itself. It gives you a really good insight into the best players in the long term, and I think that's really what you want to do. Also, you want to look at the group stages and which teams have a kind of easier group and the best teams in your opinion. Who do you think is going to go far into the semis and the finals? I kind of expected City and Liverpool to do so, and that's why I stacked up on both teams in the knockout stages. So this is really important, I think, in UCL Fantasy. In terms of Liverpool lineup leaks, not yet, but we did have the Madrid lineup already. I read it out pretty much exactly what you expect. No surprises there. High scoring game incoming. I mean, if you look at the Madrid games this season, you probably think so. It'd be very surprising if they don't. But let me show you now my transfer plans. But just a little break, because I'll be honest, my allergy is a bit annoying. I think it's an allergy anyway. So 1 second. Alright, we are back, and pretty much in terms of the transfers, it's exactly the same as what I said I'd do in the team selection. However, if Jota starts over Diaz, then I might actually save that transfer and perhaps make a move elsewhere. Maybe get a Madrid midfielder or defender, for example. So Casemiro, let's say Ferland Mendy or Alaba would be at the top of my list, and they could come in. So It'd be Foden to one of those Madrid midfielders, should I say, and also it'd be Laporte making way. So let's just wait and see what happens. And also, if Konate doesn't start, which I think he will start, but if he doesn't, Van Dijk will come in instead. So these are my transfer plans. I'm still waiting for the Liverpool lineup. We should get it, I think, within the next half an hour. I think around 6:45 is when they should really release it. So let's wait and see, because in Champions League it tends to be 1 hour and 50 minutes before the game starts. In the Premier League, for example, it tends to be 1 hour before. So very interesting there. What's the highest point score in a UCL season? I'll be honest, I actually don't know what the highest is, but I need to double check that. In terms of this year, this could be the highest, but I'm honestly not sure. I don't play Europa League Fantasy. Is there a Europa League Fantasy? I saw there was like a predictor. I wasn't aware there was a Europa League Fantasy. And to be honest, I'm not really interested in Europa League. Yes, Arsenal are going to be in it next season, but I don't think I'd do that as well. I mean, UCL Fantasy, F1 Fantasy and FPL for me is already enough. Factoring the World Cup at the end of the year, I'm pretty happy with that, to be fair. Thank you, John. Just want to thank you, Dylan, for all the excellent content this football season. You made the year much more fun. Thank you, John. It means a lot. And it's been a blast talking to you and everyone else here. So it means a lot. Thank you very much. And good luck with the end of the season. Hola, Dian, ¿cuál es tu predicción? Bienvenidos, Andrés. Para mí va a ganar Liverpool, pero tengo que ver la alineación de Liverpool antes de finalizar mi predicción. Pero para mí 2-1 Liverpool. Va a ser un gol Benzema, Mané y no sé, puede ser Salah, pero vamos a ver. Yeah, Liverpool lineup, yeah, I'd say in 20 minutes, for example. In terms of where to find it, probably just the Liverpool Twitter. A really good way of finding out the actual lineup is the UEFA website. So let me show you. I don't want to click on it because for some reason, this can be very, very annoying, by the way. It kind of can copyright me. So let me show you this. So if you go on the Champions League website, then you go to Fantasy Football. So this is just for anyone here, by the way. This is the best way to find out the kind of lineups straight away. Click on Matches here, and then here it will say Follow Build Up. If you click on that, hopefully there's no video that pops up. If so, I'll have to like scurry away. Okay, no videos. Okay, good. They will typically have it around the right-hand side here. So once both lineups are out, they will show both of them here on the right hand side, and actually it just gives you a really good build up and all the key information in terms of the head to head between both sides, the latest injury news, you know, what the managers have said, what the kind of journalists that specialize in those clubs are saying. So I'd highly recommend that. So hopefully you got that. So the referee is a French. I mean, we are in Stade de France. Clement Turpin. Yeah, I think I recognize him. I think I can't remember exactly which game, but I've seen him several times over the years. Wow, and all French officiating. Hopefully it's all fair. But yeah, I mean, we're all set for the Champions League final. But yeah, that's the best way to find out the lineups pretty much as they come. So let's go back to this and we'll go through the rest of your questions as well. So just going to have a little water break and we're going to go through the super chat. Thank you, Kat, by the way. Very generous donation. I'm going to go through that very shortly. So yeah, once again, thank you, Kat, very much. It's a very generous donation. You didn't have to, mate. You're a legend. Thank you very much. I honestly don't know what else to say. Thank you. Budget carefully has to last until early September. Will you show us the best way to navigate the EPL UCL group stage congestion then? That's a really good point. In terms of the World Cup, this will cause a lot of congestion in the earlier stages of the season. I will be making videos, and even during the kind of normal ones like the team selection, I will be making a very big point in terms of congestion. And also what you have to bear in mind is the 5 subs in the Premier League, which I still think is going to be a factor in the Champions League as well. With 5 subs means even the likes of Salah will probably not finish 90 minutes as often as he would have in the past. Even Heung-min Son, for example, you saw a lot this season. He was kind of hooked off around 70, 80 minutes. That could be a regular occurrence, especially if Spurs make some more signings. And also they've got Kulusevski there, Bergwijn, Lucas Moura, etc. So these kind of players like Harry Kane, who are pretty much always going to finish 90 minutes, could actually have the advantage. And another thing that could really throw a spanner in the works is the changes in positions. Will Son be a forward next season? And if so, maybe Kane over Son is the way to go, because Son gets a significant number of points more than Harry Kane, not just because he has more goals, but also because he's a midfielder. This could change everything. and there's a lot of things to think about ahead of next season, and it could be the kind of biggest change in fantasy. It's going to shake things up a little bit, I think. So really good question, Kat. We will be talking about the congestion for both UCL Fantasy and FPL as well, so don't worry about that. And once again, I really appreciate the generous donation, mate. Are you doing Women's Euros? No. No, I won't be doing that. So pretty much what we're going to cover is F1 Fantasy, UCL Fantasy, FPL, and probably the World Cup. I'll let you guys know and confirm once that's all done. Thanks, Christensen. Did you just call me Christensen? That's a new one. Who's your captain? Probably Benzema. It's going to be between him and Mane. If I'm feeling a bit kind of peckish, you could say I think I will go for Mane in the end. Why do you think Konate is better than Van Dijk? I don't think he's necessarily that much better. I'll just kind of highlight a few reasons why. So the main reason why I've actually gone for Konate so far is because he's actually more of a differential. If you check his ownership, he's only owned by 8%. This will probably go up to 10% or more once the deadline has concluded. And I think Van Dijk is around 32%. Yeah, 32%. So that's already something in that favour. You know, yes, if Van Dijk calls, if he gets a goal, you're in a bit of trouble there. But at the same time, Konate has that, I'd say, higher upside, let's say. So if you're chasing rank or if you're looking to be a bit aggressive, I think Konate is the play. But let's see if he starts once, first of all. In terms of ball recovery, they're actually both very similar. And I think a big shout out to, I think it's Lineup Brazil, who he posts these stats on Twitter. I definitely recommend him. He's one of the best content creators for UCL Fantasy. So what he actually put is a graph comparing the kind of balls recovered per 90. And if I'm not misquoting him, I think Van Dijk is slightly higher, and I mean only just slightly higher than Konate, but both identical. Konate is also cheaper, that's another kind of plus, although I don't think money is going to be a huge issue for most of us. And I think in terms of goals, Konate is slightly better from what he's shown in the Champions League this season. He actually scored in back-to-back games. I think both of them were against Benfica, and he also scored against Man City in the FA Cup. I think he scored basically in 3 games in a row during that period. So that's kind of some of the reasons why I've gone for Konate over Van Dijk, but I don't think he's necessarily better. I think he's just more of an upside pick, and if he starts, I think I will be going for him. Do you think Benzema over Salah captain? I have a feeling Salah will do very well wanting revenge for the 2018's final. Look, what I think is the most important thing, William, is to go for your gut. If you think Salah's going to do really well, captain him, and don't think about the crowd and the noise. If most people are going for Benzema, don't just go for Benzema yourself because of that. Now, I personally think Mane will do the best from Liverpool, but you might be onto something. Maybe Salah's going to have a fire in his belly, so to speak. What I would say, though, is Salah's record in finals is very, very poor. I think he's only scored against Spurs, and that was a penalty. But I still think, he's a really good option. He's in my top 3 captaincy choices, but I probably would put Benzema first and Mane second. Have you ever cracked 1,000 points, 84, or before, sorry. In UCL Fantasy, I don't think so. This is my best season ever. So last season, I think I finished 3,000 in the world, if I'm not mistaken. 3,000 or 4,000, I have to double check that. And the season before that, I finished, if I'm not mistaken, 10k or 20k. I need to really check my previous ranks. But very happy with my ranks overall. UCL Fantasy, I've been always in the top 20k pretty much. But this is my highest ever rank. So no, I've never cracked 1,000 points, I believe. Can you do a su for your viewers? Why is it with C today? Muchas gracias, afición. Este para vosotros. Okay, there you go. I don't know why I did it, but yeah. There's a lot of C's in the chat today, which is crazy. Konate or should I take Van Dijk? Look, there's not much to split them. I personally would go for Konate out of the 2. Yeah, I agree, Zan. Yeah, exactly. Van Dijk recovers the ball slightly better. Hopefully you don't take that out of context. Yeah, true, man of the match. He has 1 man of the match award and Konate has 0. So there you go. That's why there's kind of arguments for and against for both of them. All French officiating. Benzema hat-trick incoming, yeah. And then the Ballon d'Or from the French magazine, obviously. World Cup prediction. I'm trying not to trying to jinx my nation because, we have a decent chance of winning it, but there's 3 or 4 or 5 other nations that can win it. So for me, from South America, just kind of like it usually is, Argentina or Brazil are the most likely to win it. From Europe, I think Germany and Spain, they're not talked about enough. I think they arguably have a better chance than England, which might not sit well with everyone, but I think they do. Italy would have been a decent candidate, but obviously they're not in it. They're going to be a really tough competitor for Argentina next Wednesday in the Finalissima final. So yeah, you've also got France. They've got that kind of World Cup curse to overcome, but I think they will go through to the next round, and I think they will go relatively far. Belgium and Portugal, I think they could reach the quarters or something like that, but I just don't see them reaching the final or winning it. You never know, by the way. There could be a new winner this time. But for me, if I had to kind of narrow it down, the winner will be between Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and France. One of those five. I typically actually kind of nail it on. So in 2018, I said France will probably win it, France or Brazil, and it ended up being France. In 2014, I said Germany, Argentina. That actually was the final. Unfortunately, Argentina didn't win it. So yeah, this year, I don't know, once we get closer to the actual World Cup, I'll narrow it down, but I think one of those five will win it. And look, the rest could still win it, like England, but I'm just not seeing it at the moment. So Alex wanted to sign Benzema. When was this, though? But there's always going to be this kind of news after Benzema's doing so well. It's not really a surprise. Will there be a World Cup fantasy? Yes. There was last time. I didn't play it. But yes, there will be. Are you doing Fantasy F1 after Champions League final? I mean, I did release a video yesterday, the team selection for Monaco. But yes, in terms of F1 Fantasy, I want to be realistic in terms of, what I can do there. Because as much as I want to do, so many different types of videos for F1 Fantasy, it's not something I think I could sustainably do long term, as well as FPL and UCL Fantasy and then the World Cup Fantasy. So what I'll probably want to do with F1 Fantasy is kind of release 1 or 2 videos per week and kind of stick to that, if the demand is still there. So that's something I'm going to think about, especially over the summer. And I also want to find some time to improve the videos for next season. If you had a Madrid defender, who would you choose? Probably Militao. But other than him, in terms of attacking potential, it'd probably be Ferland Mendy. But ball recoveries, it definitely would be Militao for me. Would Kroos or Fabinho be the better pick? For me, Fabinho is the better pick. Ownership doesn't really matter anymore since majority isn't playing. I slightly disagree, because if, for example, Van Dijk is 32% and Konate is 8%, I still think you can gain more from going for someone like Konate. Maybe you're making a good point in terms of the upper echelons. The difference between Van Dijk and Konate might actually not be that big. So in terms of effective ownership around your rank, yes, maybe there's not much of a difference, but still, I think I'd rather go for Konate in terms of ownership. I think ownership does play a big part, and if you're looking to gain rank, going for someone like Rodrigo, captaining Mane, going for Konate over Van Dijk are several examples of how to find ways of gaining something over your competitors. Okay, so Superstar puts the Liverpool lineup. So let's go for it. Thank you very much, by the way. So yeah, a bit sooner than I expected then, if the lineup's already out. I don't want any ads. Or whatever. Well, not even ads, videos popping up from the Champions League website. So is it here? Okay, no, don't put a video. Don't put a video, mate. All right, so going to refresh the page. Please, no video. I'm going to have to scurry around if there is. So yeah, I don't see the Liverpool lineup right now, but let me just read out what I've seen in the chat right now. So Superstar says the team versus Madrid for Liverpool is Alison, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Diaz, Mane, Salah. No surprises there. And actually, I had a few tabs earlier which were illustrating the predicted lineups. So this one actually had Matip. This is by the Evening Standard. And that was the only thing I disagreed with. I thought Konate would start over Matip, but the rest is what I think Liverpool will line up with. Looking at another one by the Mirror, so they think it would be Alison, Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago, Salah, Mane, Diaz. Well, once again, I disagree with the Matip one, but agree with everything else pretty much. Madrid as well, they got that bang on, and I think most people could have expected it. Alaba was the only doubt heading into this final. The likes of Benzema, or shall I say, Bale and Hazard have recovered, so they're on the bench and ready if called upon, if they're needed. But yeah, they got the Madrid lineup right. Once again, Matip or Konate. I'm not sure if you got official confirmation there, Superstar, but I think Konate will start anyway. Another one, this is by Managing Madrid, so just kind of a Madrid outlet here. Courtois, Carvalho, Militao, Alaba, Mendy, Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, Valverde, Vinicius, Benzema. Once again, they got it bang on. Liverpool, another one that predicts Matip to start. I think he is the better centre-back compared to Konate, but Konate's been playing in the Champions League games and also just all the cup games recently, so that would be quite surprising. So yeah, there you go. Those are kind of all the predicted lineups, and as you can see, all of them got the Madrid one spot on. Liverpool, though, I think all of them would have made the same mistake and gone for Matip over Konate, but you never know. Maybe they're right, and in the end, it's actually Matip who starts. But I still would back my own initial prediction that Konate will start. Yeah, so let me know what you guys want in terms of polls. I think captaincy will be a big one. So let me just put, who are you going to captain? I put a similar poll on my YouTube channel and most of you went for Benzema, which isn't really a surprise. So let's put these kind of popular options here. So Benzema, Mane, Salah. I think I'd go for Trent. I think he'd be a bit interesting, but yeah, nah. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Maybe Rodrigo, Diaz, Vinicius Jr. could be interesting as well, actually. But I think, you know, for representation, I'll go for Vinicius. I want to see if anyone is actually going for him. Probably not that many. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go for Trent. Who are you going to captain then? So be sure to vote in this poll. What do you think about Casemiro? I think he's the second best ball recoverer in the midfield behind Fabinho. Okay, for my team, I have a choice of either Robertson or Van Dijk. I'd personally go for Robertson, but Van Dijk is better for ball recoveries, Noah. And I do realise I'm a bit far behind in the chat, but I'm trying to get through all the questions that I haven't done before. But we're kind of getting there. Okay, Liverpool haven't announced the team as far as I'm aware, but Superstar did put the lineup out, so maybe someone with inside information put it, so it's as good as, you know, pretty much confirmed. So I'm going to check into the internet again, but I haven't seen anything just yet. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything so far on Twitter. So yeah, back to your questions and back to my team as well. Before I finalise things. Yeah, wasting. I don't know what was over me. Some of you, Eagle. I don't know what I did. Jota 2 goals. That's a bold prediction. If he starts, you never know. I think it's very unlikely for someone to come off the bench and score 2 goals, and I might have just jinxed it there. Bale does it for Madrid or something like that. Yeah, thank you, Raja. I don't know why I did that. We do a lot, you know, kind of amongst my friend group. We kind of do that a lot. I strongly feel that Liverpool's defensive midfield and Van Dijk will be the difference today. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Fabinho has to have a really good game. And yeah, I think I talked about Modric before. I think Fabinho's another one for Liverpool in this case, because in my opinion, Madrid's midfield is better and Liverpool need to get control of that. And they can't let the likes of Modric ping those balls into the wingers. And then Madrid love those crosses. We all know this. They pretty much spammed it against Manchester City. And actually, Madrid in the last 3 games, they have a really good record against Liverpool. So they beat them in the Champions League final 3-1. They beat them 3-1 again, I think, at the Bernabeu. I think this was in 2021. And also they drew 0-0 at Anfield. So yeah. Yeah, like I said, I want to confirm it first, but I probably will be playing World Cup Fantasy and probably doing videos as well. Yes, Peter, I do root for Argentina in international competitions. Yes, I do. That's where my family's from, so that's pretty much why I do so. Liverpool league lineup, so okay, that might be it. So where do you get the league lineup, by the way? Just for future reference, Mohammed. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would have expected. Who's your captain? Haven't confirmed it yet, but probably Benzema or Mane. If I'm feeling a bit peckish or wanted to go for a differential, I think Mane would be the play. Fabinho or Thiago? For me, Fabinho. You don't need to refresh your alone show. Yeah, true, Alexa, that is true. Who do you think will be the man of the match? It just depends how the final goal goes, I think. For Liverpool, if there was a man of the match, I'm thinking Mane or Diaz. For Madrid, I'm just seeing Benzema, really, if I'm being completely honest. But there's still others like Modric who, you know, they're such great players, so much experience, and you never know. Yeah, no, like I said before, I'd go for Robertson, but just back your own gut. In terms of ball recoveries, Van Dijk is better. Spain national team consists of mainly Barca players. It could be 2010 again. Yeah, but they're nowhere near as good as 2010, are they? I mean, that team had Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. You had the likes of Fabregas on the bench sometimes, and David Silva, and Mata, for example. I mean, that team was absolutely crazy. They didn't score that many goals, but what they were was solid. They had a really good back line with Casillas in goal. They set records for like not conceding a goal, especially in the knockout stages and throughout the whole competition. After that loss against Switzerland, they just turned it up, and yeah, that Spain team was unbelievable. One of the best international sides I've seen during my lifetime, and probably up there with the great Brazil sides of the past and all these great teams. I'll wait for the official lineup for Liverpool. Yeah, same here, but it's looking likely that what we expected is going to be the case there. I have the Limitless chip active so I can make any changes. Exactly. I mean, yeah, in that case, you can just do whatever. Just don't forget to make your final changes there. Yeah, Keita's a decent one, same with Thiago, but I personally prefer Fabinho and Casemiro, Ezra. I'm going for Mane. I think that's a really good and reasonable choice there, Damien. Who to select? I'd go for Courtois personally. Benzema for sure, captain. It's just the form he's in is unbelievable, and I think he's only blanked in 2 of 11 games in the Champions League this season, and in the knockout stages, he has been the best player by far in this competition. Thankfully, we are getting free forwards playing this time. Remember last time we had no one from City and Chelsea. That is a fantastic point, Sudip. I remember that vividly. You know, we were kind of, oh, do we go for Jesus or Werner? I mean, the pickings were just grim. Slim pickings, they were grim. This time round, though, we have more to choose from. You know, the likes of Jota and Rodrigo could also easily make it a front 5. So that's a fantastic point. I'm thinking to sell Salah. I still wouldn't, you know, just also as a case of protecting rank. He's going to be on penalties, especially if Milner's not starting. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'd stick with Salah still. Going to captain Fabinho today. I mean, that's not really an awful decision. It looks quite strange, but in UCL Fantasy, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. If Konate doesn't start, I'm going to be screwed because I actually just put him on my team right now. I think he will start. He's been starting all the Champions League games and the FA Cup, so it surprised me greatly. Safon, you can't make substitutions during the final. This is the only time you can't, because the way substitutions work throughout the whole competition is you can bring players on that haven't played yet, but obviously there's only one game here, so it's not a dumb question. It's perfectly reasonable. You can't make substitutions. I also prefer Argentina. Come on, Leo. I mean, look, a lot of people support Argentina because of Messi, but typically that's not really the case. A lot of people, I'd say, Argentina are kind of one of the villains, I'd say, in international football. But they have a good chance. You know, they're still unbeaten. Hopefully they can go unbeaten until the end of the year. And that's 2 more trophies, including a World Cup. But it's going to be difficult, very difficult. There's a lot of great teams. And I think this World Cup will be one of the most wide open. What was your prediction about the result? I need to see Liverpool lineup with my own eyes, you know, the confirmation. But I think 2-1 at the moment for Liverpool. But never discount Madrid. I've said this every single round and they keep on winning. So in the end, it looks like I do discount them and they always win. So yeah, let's wait and see. I'm going to try check the Liverpool lineup. Let's see if the UEFA website has anything. So yeah, so far nothing yet. Yeah, nothing here. No, do not show that video, please. No. Yeah, we're going to go back to my team. Still waiting for the lineup, but probably within the next 15 minutes we'll see it. Yeah, David Villa, I was a huge fan of him growing up. I mean, look, I was an Arsenal fan, you know, Argentina fan all my life, but I loved David Villa, Fabregas, you know, all these kind of players from Spain. They were great. Casillas was my favourite goalkeeper. I really want to go with Diaz as captain, but I'm afraid they will be benched soon. Fair enough. I mean, I think he'll start, and actually the lineups are out right now, so we'll go through that. So thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. But yeah, let's get this up here. So Liverpool's lineup, and here we go. So yeah, it was released 2 minutes ago. This is the Liverpool lineup. Alison, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Diaz, Salah and Mane. It's exactly what we expected. And there we go. So Konate, I think, will be coming in for me. Does this change anything for you? I'd be interested to see. But yeah, that's the lineup for Liverpool. Let's see what else. So let's go through all these questions. There's still quite a few. Prediction 0-0 and decision in the penalty shootout. Now, I think that's a good prediction. It would surprise me because Madrid are always involved in these kind of thrillers. But when you look at Liverpool's finals this season, it does make sense. Got a feeling Courtois will be man of the match. If Madrid win, and you know Courtois makes plenty of saves, you know that's a great shout. Yes, Henry, there's not really any point of having subs. It doesn't hurt to have 1 or 2 decent subs. So if you have like a spare transfer or 2, just use it. But it's not really, you know, that important in my opinion. Yeah, thank you, Bajoraz, Jordi, and El Padrino for letting me know. Luca as well. Hey then, last one of the season, yeah? I mean, it's been a blast, hasn't it? It's been quite a ride. May I ask you why you're choosing going for 3 Liverpool defenders instead of 2 from each team? The reason why is because I think Liverpool have a better defence, but not just that. I actually think there won't be a clean sheet for either team, but the reason why, let me go back to my team now, is because the likes of Konate, good for ball recoveries, Trent Alexander-Arnold, good for ball recoveries and has attacking potential, and the same goes for Robertson. So not only do I think Liverpool have a better defence and a better chance of keeping a clean sheet, but also I think they are better fantasy assets than Madrid. And I've got I've got Courtois to cover for Madrid. I think he's the best Madrid defensive coverage there. But you make a really good point. And if you're unsure or if you think both teams will concede, why not spread the risk and go for 2 of each team? That's a really good point. But I also actually want to start Fabinho over the likes of a potential Madrid defender like Militao, Alaba, Felan, Mendy, etc. So that's kind of my thinking. And it might not make too much sense, because if I captain Benzema and I've got 3 Liverpool defenders, then what are you playing at? So yeah, and that was a Harry Potter reference, by the way, Justin from Chamber of Secrets. That was kind of weird. Nothing changes for me. I expected this lineup. Yeah, same here, Luca. Yeah, okay, AK Music, relax. But yeah, and look, I'm not accusing you, by the way, but just in general, for people who do wait for, people to make their final transfers and stuff, I personally think it's the best thing to do to not copy other people's teams, whether it's me or anyone else. I think it doesn't really make sense to me. I'm not saying you do, by the way, AK. I'm 55 in the world. Should I try a surprise to reach higher, or just go with the safe picks? That's a really good question. To be fair, though, you could easily go up as you could go down, so it's going to be risky either way. I would be slightly bold, potentially, but try to be reasonable. Don't just captain Mane because he's a differential. Captain him if you genuinely think he has a good chance of being the highest scorer this week. So that's one example. But if you think Benzema will score several goals and he's going to be the highest scorer, just captain Benzema. Don't overcomplicate it. Even if everyone else is going to do it, there might be someone around you that doesn't, and you do gain rank that way. But I'll be honest, it's going to be very difficult for all of us to gain rank in the final match day of the season. But, if there are a few inactive teams around our rank, that will help. Let's just wait and see. But ultimately, I think what you want to do is just kind of stick to what you've been doing all season long, Pedro. But you could go for a differential too along the way, like Konate over Van Dijk. Robertson or Konate? That's a good question. I think I would still go for Robertson. Konate will definitely score a header. I mean, what if Van Dijk does? Everyone gets Konate and in the end it's Van Dijk. Bridgerton, I think it's a really good question, and it's 50-50, honestly. In terms of ball recoveries, they're identical. If anything, Van Dijk is slightly better. In terms of attacking returns, they're also similar, but I think Konate has been better this season. So, look, for me, I'm going to go for Konate. I like the ownership a lot. Back your gut on that one, though. And I could actually visualise a Van Dijk header for some, or just a goal. I don't know why, so maybe I should just go for it myself. Fair enough. The only one I could do as well as Liverpool defenders is Mendy. Yeah, or even Militao because of ball recoveries. But let's actually go through the Madrid defenders and their results in the knockout stages. So since matchday 7, Militao hasn't got any point hauls over 3. So it's either been 1, 2, 3, or he missed out in matchday 10 completely there against Chelsea in the second leg. So that's one example. Let's go through Carvajal. Another example. So matchday 7, he got an assist, I think. That's why he got 5 points. No, he got the clean sheet, actually. He got the clean sheet, and he came off just before they conceded. Then 3-3, 2-2-2. Once again, very disappointing. Alaba, most of his point hauls, as you can see, are in the group stages. 4 points in matchday 7, so pretty good. I think he got ball recoveries in that game against Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah, 7 ball recoveries, 2-3-2-1, and then he didn't even play in matchday 12 due to injury. So another Madrid defender that has been really poor in the knockout stages. Felan Mendy actually got an assist, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in matchday 11. Yeah, and actually technically got a second assist, but because Vinicius Jr. went on a solo run, it didn't count towards his second assist there. But he got 1 point in matchday 7, missed out in matchday 8, 4 points here against Chelsea. Then he got 1 point in matchday 10, 3-3. So once again, none of these players have really done that well in the knockout stages, but you compare it to Konate and these Liverpool players. Now, what you could also say is that Liverpool have had easier opponents than Madrid. That's definitely, not. I'm not going to doubt that. But Liverpool also have a much better defence. And look at Konate. He's actually hauled in every game except matchday 12 and also matchday 8, where he just missed out completely. Let's look at Trent as well. Very similar. Didn't haul in matchday 9. Matchday 10 he missed out. He only got 4 points in matchday 12, but still pretty decent. And he's got 5 points and above on 3 occasions in the knockout stages. Then you look at Robertson, very similar as well. 10 points in matchday 7, 5 in 9, 7 in 11, only 2 in matchday 12, 3 in matchday 8, and he didn't feature in matchday 10. Then you look at Van Dijk, he's another really good example. He's been very consistent, by the way. 4 points and above in every knockout stage game he has started in, including a 14-point haul in matchday 7. So, in my opinion, the Liverpool fantasy assets in general are just better than Madrid. Even if Madrid win the Champions League final and both teams score, I just think Liverpool players can get more ball recoveries and more points than those Madrid defenders. Now, I could be wrong. Felan Mendy could come up with an assist. Militao scores a header. Who knows? But I personally believe if I had to back one team and their assets, it would be Liverpool. Thank you, John, for being a differential member for 8 months. Thank you very much, mate. Robert getting no love today. Yeah, I can see why, because in terms of ball recoveries, I think Van Dijk, Konate and Trent are all better, but he's still a really good option in my opinion. Keep Rodrigo or change to Jota, Vinicius? I personally would change him probably to Vinicius, but Rodrigo has been probably one of the best effective super subs in the Champions League this season. Of those 3 defenders, which one would you leave out? Are you talking about the Liverpool defenders? If I had to leave one out, maybe Konate, but I'm not sure I'd do that. Yep, Shepard, we are all done in terms of lineups. I'm going to be locking in my team fairly soon. I'm transferring in Bale. That is a mega differential. Now that is, talk about a way of clawing up the deficit. So let's actually check Gareth Bale. I don't think he's even got that many points in the bag this season. So he's got 2 points. That is crazy. But look, he is Real Madrid's biggest player, in my opinion, one of their biggest players in their history in terms of Champions League finals, all these huge finals. You remember that goal against Barcelona in the Copa del Rey final? He was the game changer in 2018 against Liverpool. Only 7 minutes played in the Champions League this season, but can you discount him, Rodrigo or Hazard from coming off the bench and making an impact? Not really. I mean, 0% ownership. That is unbelievable. I actually had him in Euro 2020 fantasy football last summer, and he actually got me a nice point return there. So, all the best of luck with that, mate. I really like that idea. Hopefully it can pay off. Realistically, to be honest, I mean, I'm not too sure, but I hope it does pay off for you. It's an incredible idea in my opinion. Yep, Alison or Courtois? I'd go for Courtois and go for more Liverpool defenders personally. Fabinho or Modric? Wow. I think I would go for Fabinho. However, I wouldn't just go all out on Liverpool midfield. I would want one Madrid midfielder, and for me it would be Modric or Casemiro. But Fabinho in isolation is just more likely to get 5 points or above than Modric. Finishing with a 100+ point lead in my league and top 10k. Thanks for the inspirational lineups this season with my first time ever doing fantasy. I'm really enjoying your videos. Thank you, Nahian. It's much appreciated and really good, mate. A 100+ point lead in a mini league is fantastic, especially in a 13 matchday season in Champions League. That is incredible. Militao or Konate? I'd go for Konate. Valverde's a really good differential. I think he's decent for ball recoveries, but I think there are better midfielders out there. There are 27 players within 3 points either side of you. Oh yeah, that's really close, isn't it, Noah? Why do you have all Liverpool defence instead of splitting in half? I just discussed that actually. I'm guessing you got my answer there, but I am going to go for Courtois. I'm not going to go for Alison and all out Liverpool defence. I will actually go for Courtois in goal. Yes, asterisk the lineups are out. Fabinho or Thiago? I'd go for Fabinho. Hi again, Dylan. My team for the finals: Courtois, Militao, Robertson, Trent, Mane, Salah, Modric, Kroos, Benzema, Diaz, Vinicius. I like it a lot. You've got 2 Madrid midfielders. I personally prefer Casemiro over Kroos, but he's on set pieces. You never know what he could do. Who are you supporting? No one. I'm a neutral here. Benzema captain. Yeah, I think most people would go for that. And as you can see, 59% of you have gone for Karim Benzema captain. 18% with Mane, 19% for Salah, 3% for Trent. Imagine if Salah was in the form he was in the first half of the season. This would be a neck-and-neck poll between Benzema and Salah. I'm going to end the poll there though. 260 votes. Thank you very much. And if you want any other kind of ideas for polls, or if you want any other questions answered, then just put it in the chat and just say if you want it to be featured in the poll, and then we can put it out for everyone to vote and to make their feelings known. I would go for... yeah, Henry, that's a tough question. I think I'd still go for Robertson, but really close. Yeah, Bale for the W. Imagine that, mate. Does Valverde play right wing? To my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, Madrid alternate between a 4-3-3 and 4-4-2, depending on if they're in possession or out of possession. So Valverde could feature pretty much as the kind of right midfielder. Sometimes he'll be higher up, but I kind of see him as a right midfielder, so to speak. So, yeah, is he a right winger or not? Technically, but I wouldn't class him, officially as that. And they sometimes obviously then switch to kind of a midfield free. But yeah, I think Madrid have the better midfield in general. Not just Valverde. I think it's mainly that kind of original midfield free of Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos. I captain Trent. I really like that idea, to be fair. I just don't see a clean sheet for both teams, but Trent doesn't need a clean sheet to haul. Why captain Benzema if Liverpool defence? Why not? I still think they can all get points. You know, with ball recoveries, I think the Liverpool defenders can get 4 points or above, and Benzema could still get a haul. And he has been the best player in the Champions League this season. I'd go for Fabinho, Arfan, personally. Hey Dylan, good evening. Last fantasy deadline of the year, and it's been a long season. It's felt like a long time ago when we were in August, August, September, making the kind of early videos for UCL Fantasy. A lot has changed since then, so it's been a blast. Asensio or Bale, if you had to pick one? Probably Bale, if I had to pick one. What would be your dream team? In terms of UCL Fantasy, pretty much what I talked about in my team selection and also my best wildcard and limitless team. It would be exactly that. Do I think Asensio will play? I think Rodrigo will come off the bench, and then maybe Asensio, yeah. It just depends on Bale's fitness and also Eden Hazard, really. What about Kroos? He's a decent option. I just think that Casemiro is better. All of these midfielders on screen, in my opinion, are superior. So he's not really my favourite, but he's still a good option. Konate replace with Mendy and you have my team. I'm going to enjoy this game. Thanks for all your content. Thank you, Arthur. And maybe balancing out the defence is the way to go, to be fair. So, I don't disagree with any of you that are talking about balancing it out. I don't expect a clean sheet for either side. Yeah, Mohamed, like I said, I don't like Madrid's defence. I think Liverpool are more likely to keep a clean sheet if there is one team to keep a clean sheet. And also they get more points, as I discussed just now. I actually just talked about the Madrid defenders and their hauls in the knockout stages, and they're awful. Whilst Liverpool players, with easier fixtures, albeit, have still got some really good points returns. Adita, like I said already, I would go for Courtois. Who would you rather play, Van Dijk or Fabinho? If you already have 3 defenders, I would rather play Fabinho, actually. Especially if you already have 2 or 3 Liverpool defensive coverage, Vegaard. But Van Dijk is still a great option. There's not much to split them. Once again, Henry, I'd go for Robertson, but it's up to you. It's really close. Going Madrid front 3. Wow. Talk about putting all the eggs in one basket. That could really pay off for you, though. What do you think about Diaz for captain? I think he's one of the most likely players for Liverpool to win man of the match. But I still prefer Mane and Benzema for the captaincy. 2 Real Madrid midfielders, I think that's fine. And if I had to pick, it would be Modric and Casemiro. Yeah, Khalidun, I'd go for Courtois. I have Van Dijk over Konate. Thoughts? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be honest. I think it's very close between them. They'll probably score similarly in the finals. Yeah, I checked the lineups already, Elliot. I checked them already. We've already gone through them. Do you think Valverde will score? He tried all this season to score long shots, so I think this is his chance. Never say never, but he's not really the one that sticks or stands out as scoring in the final for me. I think for Madrid it'd be Benzema, maybe Rodrigo off the bench or something like that. And possibly if there was a midfielder, I would maybe see someone like Modric or something, but you never know. Casemiro or Kroos, I'd go for Casemiro. If the match goes into extra time, do you think Hazard and Bale will get some game time? Yes, I think so potentially, but Rodrigo for me is first in the pecking order of the 3. What do you think of getting Thiago as a differential instead of Van Dijk? I don't hate it. I think Thiago's a quality midfielder, but in terms of fantasy prospects, I think Van Dijk is more likely to get points. So I still prefer Van Dijk, but if you're looking for a differential, why not go for it? Is it worth taking a hit for the final? If you can get to 11 without taking hits, I don't see the need, to be honest, Patrick. But if you need to take a hit to get to 11, then yes, it could be worth it, basically. Konate or Courtois? Bit of an odd question. Who do I prefer? Probably Konate. I think Firmino will be man of the match. I mean, he has to do a lot in the limited minutes he gets to be man of the match, but it can happen. Look at Diaz against Villarreal. It definitely has happened before. Would you do a -4 for Jota Diaz? That's a really difficult one. It could easily backfire just like it did when we did Diaz to Jota last week. Or should I say in the last match day? I think if this is for your starting 11, then yes, I would do it, but I'm very apprehensive about that. Robertson for me, Sergeant Pepper. I prefer Robertson. Edison or Courtois? I'm guessing you're saying Alison. I'd go for Courtois. I wouldn't go all out for Liverpool defence, by the way. I technically have, but I would go for Courtois as the Madrid defensive coverage. Yeah, once again, I'd go for Courtois, Gaurav. I just think he has a higher ceiling than Alison. Captain who? For me, Benzema or Mane. I think they're the top 2 options for me. So let me actually put a poll out, since a lot of people are asking this question. Which keeper do you prefer? And I want to see what you guys think. I personally would go for Courtois, as I said before, but let's see what you guys say. Rodrigo's my first player on the bench, so in case Bale doesn't play, he'll come on as auto sub. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad choice at all, really. Fabinho, Thiago or Madrid midfielder. I would go for a Madrid midfielder, and I'd go for Modric or Casemiro. I will go for Firmino instead of Diaz. Fair enough. I still prefer Diaz personally. Militao will stay on your bench? Probably. Do you think Benzema will win Ballon d'Or? Yes. But if Liverpool win the Champions League, Mane has a better chance than Salah, I think. Although I still think... There's the thing, though. I think the Ballon d'Or is now a seasonal award. Therefore, for me, Salah is ahead of Mane. But if it was, kind of back in the days, when it was a year or annual award, then Mane would be the better one, because in 2022, he has been better than Salah. But over the course of the season, Salah, for me, has been better. That first half was incredible. Like I said already, I'd probably go for Benzema or Mane. I'm going to finalise my team shortly. 3 Liverpool defenders plus Courtois, or start Carvalho for Van Dijk. I'd go for the first, Bridgerton, which is probably what I'm doing. 3 Liverpool defenders and Courtois. Yep, fair enough, Goldhead. I think it's quite similar between the two. Just about I'd go for Fabinho, though. Big Benzema or Salah for captain. Out of those two, I'd go for Benzema. Bienvenidos, Fernando. Gracias. Muchas gracias, mate. Van Dijk or Konate. I personally would go for Konate, but it's very, very close. 82% of you going for Courtois. Wow, I thought more people would go for Alison, actually. Yes, Theo, he is, but I still prefer Mane as a differential captain, although he will be more captained than Diaz. It's very close, though. This seems the spot where Luis Diaz is the best game since coming to Europe. What a time to get it. I mean, he's had plenty of good games since joining Liverpool. All Liverpool defence, well, Alison won't be in my starting 11. It'll probably be Courtois. But in terms of defenders, yes, I think so. I just think they're better assets, UCL Fantasy-wise. 2 Madrid midfielders. I think you asked this already, Klitsch Gaming. I'd go for Modric and Casemiro. I don't think there's a need to reload the webpage. I know who's starting or not, to be honest. I mean, in terms of this one, for example, this one, I'll refresh this and you'll see who's marked in green. But yeah, everyone's starting pretty much except Jota. I think I'm going to stick with my guns and go for Vinicius, Diaz, Mane, Konate, Courtois. Are there any other options that I am considering? Van Dijk over Konate is still a consideration. Rodrigo over Vinicius is something I'm considering as well. But because Vinicius and Diaz are starting, I think I'm just going to go for them. And they were in my thoughts anyway. So, yeah, I think this would be my team. And I could go for Militao. Maybe for Fabinho, for example, but I just don't like the point hauls from Madrid defenders in the knockout stages. It's been pretty awful. Militao was very consistent during the group stages, to be fair. Only 1 blank, but ever since he's been pretty lackluster. So it's going to be an interesting one. Fabinho is 13% ownership as well. Militao's 18%, not much of a difference there. But it should be a great, great end to the season. And so let's see. Militao is actually the highest scoring defender in the game, and Alaba's second. But then you look at Trent, for example, he's missed 4 games. I mean, he'd easily be top, I think, if it wasn't for that. Konate also missed 4 games. Then you look at Robertson. Oh, yeah, he's down here. He's missed plenty of games as well. Yeah, he's missed 3. Maybe technically 4. Did he come off the bench for this one? Yeah, he did. So he's missed plenty of games. And who else do we have? Van Dijk. So he's missed 4 games as well. So yeah, I think Liverpool defenders are better options than Madrid. I mean, look at that. They're barely behind Alaba and Militao, and they've played like 3 or 4 games less pretty much. I mean, Militao technically didn't feature in one of them, to be fair. Matchday 11, I think he started as well. Yeah, he did. So yeah, I just think Liverpool defenders are better. Let's see. I'm not spoiling anyone. Today. Casemiro or Fabinho? I prefer Fabinho just about, but it's very close. Modric or Casemiro? Casemiro is more likely to get 5 points or above, but I like Modric's attacking potential more so. And if you already have Fabinho, for example, I'd definitely go for Modric. I don't think Diaz has scored a brace this season. Seems the day. Wow, imagine that. Those that are captaining him, if they do get that brace, they'll be feasting. I'd go for Fabinho, Pranav. Any concerns about Fabinho picking up another early injury? There's a few players, to be fair, like Van Dijk, Salah. They're all off the back of fresh injuries. Alaba as well for Madrid. So there could be an early kind of substitution like Diego Costa against Madrid in 2014. But let's wait and see. Please captain Diaz. I mean, look, you could be onto something, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go there. Yeah, I'd go for Fabinho, Rick. Pretty simple there. I just think he's a better UCL fantasy asset. I'd go for Fabinho, Arfan. Very close, though. They robbed Mendy assist against Man City. Well, it's in the rules, though. If a player is deemed to have scored a solo goal, the player who gave the pass doesn't get the assist. Kat says, tell me I did the right thing in getting Diaz for Jota instead of Courtois for Becker. I probably would. I think the difference between Diaz and Jota, although this could backfire, is going to be bigger, and you'll gain more points from that than Courtois to Alison, but you just never know. Carvajal or Militao? Militao for me. Thoughts on Toni Kroos? I think he's a good option, but there's much better ones. So Casemiro, Fabinho, Salah, Mane, etc. Yeah, I think there's better options. Modric as well, of course. Carvajal, yeah, I just answered that. Henderson or Fabinho? I'd go for Fabinho easily. Modric or Valverde? I'd go for Modric. Would you rather have Fela Mendy or Kroos? Probably Fela Mendy. Robertson or Konate? I'd go for Robertson. All the best, Dylan. See you around later. Thank you, Rajat. See you around, and good luck into breaking into the top 100 in the mini league. Captain Salah or Benzema? I'd probably go for Benzema. Those two. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you very much. I'm actually going to check the. I'm going to check the league. Our league, the Champions League Fantasy League, and I'll probably lock in my prediction as well. But we've got 49 minutes left for the deadline. Be sure to lock in your teams and get everything done. Let me also check, by the way. Let's see. So, yeah, let's talk about the people at the top, and we'll probably do this in a UCL Fantasy season review. Let me know in the live chat now, by the way, if you want to see that. A season review for UCL Fantasy. It'll probably be short and sweet, but it could be a live stream. You know, we can talk about it, react to Matchday 13, who won the Champions League, how we ended up doing our final ranks, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, 69% of you went with Courtois, so that's not... Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting, maybe a bit less for Courtois. Now let me actually set a new goal. So yeah, we're on 69 likes. We've got over 200 viewers. Let's get to 100 likes. We can definitely do that. So if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much to everyone who's already subscribed to the channel. It's much appreciated. And be sure to share this video around with anyone who loves UCL Fantasy, FPL, F1 Fantasy, and all of that good stuff. So let's actually click on some of these teams and see. So Chris Rollover, where is he in the world? He is number 1. So we have the number 1 in UCL Fantasy in the world in our league. So Chris Rollover, big shout out to you. Really, really good. Exceptional. We actually got the exact same number of points in Matchday 12, and that's as close as we've gotten all season. I mean, look at that. Benzema captain, you got that right. Yeah, you got Mahrez. You know, that's another example. Just nailing it on most weeks, really. That's a really good performance there. So Chris Rollover, number 1 in the world, is in our UCL Fantasy League. We've also got ranked number 5 in our UCL Fantasy League, so we're backing FC Grizzo and also Chris Rollover to win the whole thing. All the best of luck for all of you. And yeah, once again, 64 points, even better in Matchday 12. Wow, some really impressive scores in here. And then let's kind of check the rest of this. So Adamino, ranked 14, so we've got 3 people in the top 15 in the world. That's really good. And wow, you had Diaz. You stayed with Diaz, one of the few people who did. Fair play, mate. Wow, that's really impressive. 69 points in Matchday 12. You had Foyth, who got 4 points. Mahrez, really good stuff. We're going to check the other 2 in the top 5. No Erling, no winning. I like that. So Anurag as well, ranked 25. You captain Jesus, a bit unlucky there, but I'll be honest, I probably would have gone for Benzema anyway. I think I did myself. But yeah, I mean, I thought Jesus would score, to be fair. So that's a bit surprising. And then rank number 5. No Erling, no winning. But a big shout out to all of you, by the way. Rank 38 in the world as well. But we're backing all of you to do as, you know, just to finish the season as strongly as possible and to get the ranks you want. But really good stuff from people in this league. Like I said, I believe we have the most members of any UCL Fantasy League. And also it's probably the highest rated. You know, we've got very high ranks amongst this mini league. So big shout out to all of you. So the Dylan RCM League you can join. It's on the left hand corner of your screen once we go to the kind of my own team later on, and it's also in the description below, so be sure to click the link and you'll automatically join. So yes, let's go through the rest of your questions as well. Yeah, Captain Salah or Benzema? I'd personally go for Benzema. I think I already answered that myself, so my bad. Mendy or Militao? Militao. Fabinho or Modric? Modric, if I had to pick one. Militao or Alaba? Militao. I'd go for Courtois over Alison. Start Courtois and 3 Liverpool defenders, or start Alison and play Carvajal with 2 Liverpool defenders. I would go for Courtois and 3 Liverpool defenders, El Nino. Fabinho or Cruz, I'd go for Fabinho. Play all Liverpool at the back or put Militao for one of them. I personally would prefer going all out Liverpool defence, but I would still want one defensive coverage, whether it's Militao or Courtois in goal. Should I use a Real Madrid defender? I would have one defensive coverage just in case, but, you know, for example, if you already have Courtois, you don't need a Real Madrid defender, in my opinion, and that's what I'm looking to do. I would go for Fabinho, okay. Valverde or Fabinho, says Annie. I'd go for Fabinho. XD3 says Militao, Mendy or Alaba. I would go for Militao. Alaba or Konate, I'd go for Konate. Fabinho or Modric. Let's see, where are we? I think I just lost the chat. Yeah, Mendy or Militao. I think, yeah, it's kind of the same old questions, but I'd go for Militao. I'm number 21, pleased with how well it's been going. Hoping for a strong finish. Good luck, mate. All the best. Who to choose, Arnold or Robertson? I would go for Trent if I had to pick one. Van Dijk or Konate? Konate for me. Benzema or Mane? Really tough one. In terms of captaincy, I'm still undecided. I think I'd go for Benzema, but it's really, really close. Cruz or Fabinho? Fabinho. Alaba on the bench? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd start him. Score prediction? I'm going to lock that in very soon, actually. I'm not obsessed with Militao, technically, Jan. I mean, he's actually going to be on my bench in my team. Good time to play Limitless? I actually disagree. I talked about this in my best wildcard and Limitless team video, and you can actually build the best Limitless team with normal transfers. Obviously, a lot of people will have a lot of eliminated players, so they can't actually build the whole squad as Limitless players can do, but I think it's actually better deployed in the early stages, and that's what I tend to do. I maybe use it too early in the group stages, but it has done very well for me over the last few years. Best Madrid defender, probably Militao or Mendy. Alaba's also up there, but I'd probably rank them in that order. I'd go for Modric, Enrique, if I had to pick one. Konate or Van Dijk? Konate, Nabil. I would go for Fabinho, Klitsch. Yeah, Aidan, I answered your question earlier. You were one of the first questions in the stream. So what I basically said was to move Jesus to Diaz, Mahrez to Modric, Cancelo to Robertson, and Edison to Courtois. And I think you're well set. Yeah, Carvajal is worth a shout, but he's my least favourite defender, I think, of the ones I mentioned. Once again, Fenyo, I'd go for Courtois. Try not to repeat the question, please. Should I captain Salah or Benzema? I'd personally go for Benzema, but back you got there. Salah will be more of a differential captain. Fabinho or Militao? Fabinho for me. Thoughts on Valverde? Decent option, but I'd actually prefer Cruz. And then there's Casemiro who's above, and then you've got all these options that you see on screen as well. Diaz or Mane? I think Mane, but I've got a good feeling about Diaz today. Thiago or Cruz? I would go for Thiago. Which two to start between Cruz, Modric and Fabinho? I would start Fabinho and Modric. If I have 5 Liverpool midfielders and defenders, which goalkeeper should I put? I'd go for Courtois. Thoughts on Bale? I think he could be one of the best differentials, but I'd actually prefer Rodrigo. I'd still be a bit concerned about Bale's minutes. How confident are you of Benzema scoring tonight since you are captaining him? I think he's the most likely to score today, alongside maybe Mane, so I think he's got a great chance. Thank you, John, for the shout out. And as he says, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And we are very close to 100 likes, so let's get to that. And just thank you very much for all your support all season. It's been a blast. And we have reached 11,000 subscribers. I think last week it was, I'm losing count of the time, during the FPL deadline stream, which I believe was last Sunday. So yeah, it's been a great, great journey. Thank you very much to everyone. What about Thiago? Kind of similar to Cruz, good option, but I think there's better midfielders. It's up to you if you want to go for him, but I'm personally not going there. I'd probably start Carvajal, actually, El Nino, over Thiago. Is this a good strategy? Van Dijk, Arnold and Robertson on defence along with Courtois? I think so. That's what I'm looking to do, apart from I'm going for Konate over Van Dijk, potentially, but I think it's a good strategy. It's just, I don't expect a clean sheet for either side, but if there were to be a clean sheet, I think Liverpool are more likely. Thank you, Aidan. I was wondering if there were any changes off the lineups. No, I don't think so. I think it's pretty much the exact same. Robertson or Konate? I'd go for Robertson for the attacking potential. Thoughts on Hazard? I'd be interested in a way, but Rodrigo for me is even better. Fabinho or Cruz? Fabinho. Why Fabinho over Thiago? Ball recoveries. For every 3 balls recovered, you gain a point. Fabinho is one of the best ball recovery options out there, so I'd go for Fabinho. Kroos or Casemiro, I'd go for Casemiro, kind of similar point to above. No need for a bench really? No, John, there really isn't. So yeah, unless there's an injury in the warm-up or something, and you make early transfers, you're not really going to have them come into play. Van Dijk or Militao? Van Dijk for me. Your captain is Benzema and you have 3 Liverpool defenders. I've got that quite a lot today. I mean, yes, it does seem quite contradictory on paper, but you know, these Liverpool defenders can still get points even if Benzema scores with ball recoveries. I think Liverpool defenders offer better value, and look, as good as Madrid have been all season, I don't like their defence that much. I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet. I could be wrong. I just don't really see it. But let me know what your teams are as well. But I do realise, obviously, you know, with only 2 teams, you know, they're facing each other, you're always going to have a few kind of conflicts here. But for me, it's going to be Benzema or Mane as captain. So I haven't logged that in just yet, but I think I'll be going for one of those 2. So let's see. Thiago over Fabinho, right? No, not for me. I'd go for Fabinho. Who do you choose, Kroos, Valverde or Casemiro? I'd actually go for Casemiro, Vedant. Risk or Rodrigo or Diaz? I'd go for Diaz, personally. Mendy or Carvajal? Mendy. If it goes to penalty shootouts, do the players who score the pens get fantasy points? No, Ahmed, they don't. Thank you, Anas. Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure seeing you all season. Big matches like this always hinge on the best players. The cream rises to the top. Diaz is primed. You're really backing Diaz today. I mean, you could say the same about Benzema. You know, he's been the big game player this season, and he could do it once again. Are people actually picking players who are on the bench? Example, Bale, Rodrigo. I think it's mainly just for a differential to chase rank, John. Why do you choose Becker over Courtois? Just to make it clear, I already have Alison. I can't, you know, with the screen you see, it's my transfers. I can't actually put Courtois in the lineup just yet. I will, you know, there's no need. I mean, what's the reason? What's the point of me buying Courtois just to bench him? If I buy Courtois, which I probably will do, he will be starting over Alison. I don't think I would go quadruple Liverpool defence. I think that's way too much. I think I'd go for 3. I'd go for these 3, Konate, Trent and Robertson, and then go for Courtois in goal. I've got the ball recoverer then, Fabinho. I don't think it's worth moving him out for Casemiro. I've got Mane and Salah, the goal-scoring midfielders. I've got Modric, the midfield maestro. I've got arguably the 3 best forwards in the game, especially Benzema and Diaz. So, yeah, I think that's just the way I'm going to go. Why not captain Salah? I'm just not really feeling it at the moment. Doesn't have a great record in finals, only scored a penalty against Spurs. And I think Benzema is a big game player. Salah is as well, but just I think Benzema is far better in big games. Now look, anything can happen today. Salah could score a brace or a hat-trick, but I think I'm going for Benzema or Mane. I think Mane is in better form this year. Prediction as a Liverpool fan, I would love a 3-1, and thanks for the amazing season, Dylan, once again. At the moment, I'm going for a 2-1 Liverpool, but I have a funny feeling about Madrid. I just don't know what it is. I think it could go extra time and anyone can win it. So I'm saying 2-1 Liverpool because I think they're the better team, but does that actually translate into Liverpool winning? Not necessarily. I mean, look at City losing to Liverpool. Sorry, not Liverpool. City to losing to Madrid. It can happen. Keep Rodrigo or change to Vinicius? I'd personally change him to Vinicius, but not for a -4 hit. Imagine thinking Diaz is more dangerous than Salah earlier this season. Yeah, I mean, look, Salah's just kind of tailed off, especially since returning from AFCON. It is what it is. Konate or Van Dijk? I'd go for Konate. Klitsch. Try not to repeat the question, please. Militao or Casemiro? I'd go for Casemiro. My limitless squad says Shepherd, Benzema captain, Vinicius Junior, Luis Diaz, Mane, Salah, Valverde, Robertson, Arnold, Mendy, Carvajal, Courtois. That's an interesting team. Quite surprised by Valverde, but it's a really solid team overall. I personally would prefer another midfielder over Valverde, if you're asking me, but just back your gut there. I would go for Modric in the starting 11, and I prefer Casemiro over Valverde in general, but it's a really good team. I think Diaz will not score. That side from Madrid defence is strong. Carvajal, I have seen Carvajal been, you know, taken apart several times. I think Diaz could get to him. It just depends. Salah time to shine. We've been saying this for several months now, to be fair, but look, it could be. It well could be. Am I the only one going for the Bale punt? I don't believe so. There's a few people in the chat that have mentioned him, as well as Hazard, actually. Kroos or Casemiro? I'd go for Casemiro. I'd go for Fabinho, Aiden, for me. Benzema deserves the Ballon d'Or. I hope he scores and wins tonight. If it's based over the course of the season, it's for me Benzema, Mbappe, Lewandowski, or Salah. But and that's what it is now, by the way. It's a seasonal award, the Ballon d'Or. It's no longer an annual award. And if it was an annual award, I wouldn't really put Salah in the conversation because he's been pretty poor in 2022. Even Messi, who a lot of people criticize, has had a better year than Salah. So I would probably go for, I think Benzema is probably the deserving winner so far. Is going with a back four Liverpool too risky? Look, anything's risky. If you go for more Madrid defenders, that's risky as well, considering how poor they've been defensively. But I think 4 is a bit too much. I'd personally go for 2 or 3 and then go for another Madrid defensive coverage. I'm going to go for Courtois over Alison. 2 on Real from me. That's the first or maybe the second Madrid prediction I've seen today. No, I don't. I don't play Bundesliga Fantasy. I don't. Who to captain? That's the question of the hour, isn't it? Most people have gone for Benzema. I'm currently going for Benzema myself, but something inside me just says Mane for some reason. But you just never know. Yeah, and once again, I'd go for Fabinho. Start Fabinho or Valverde, I'd go for Fabinho. Salah versus Benzema captaincy, I would personally go for Benzema there. I'm a bit more conflicted when it comes to Mane versus Benzema. Alaba or Militao, I'd go for Militao. Dylan, thank you for your tips along the road. See you next UCL Fantasy. Thank you, Andres, and all the best of luck with Matchday 13. Konate, Militao or Alaba? For me, Konate. I'm thinking of captaining Rodrigo, but it's crazy. I'm trying to find a big differential. I think Mane is already a good enough differential because most people would captain Karim Benzema, in my opinion. Vinicius captain, fair enough. I'm seeing another one there. People captaining Vinicius and Rodrigo. I prefer Vinicius, Last time Madrid lost the European final was in '84 against Aberdeen, correct? They have history on their side. I actually think maybe a European final, but the last time they lost a Champions League final was against Liverpool in 1981, and they've won 7 since. But they also beat Liverpool during that time in 2018. So, look, both of them have extreme, serious pedigree in the Champions League, but Madrid's is on another level. They've almost got double the amount of Champions Leagues. Well, actually, am I even thinking of it straight? Liverpool have 6 Champions Leagues, don't they? Or is it 7? I think they've got 6. So, yeah, they've got over double. That's crazy. Konate for me, Klitsch. Try not to spam the question. You're going to be banned, probably, if you ask it again. Thanks for the tips for FPL and UCL. Looking forward to the World Cup if you do play. Thank you, Verdant. Likewise, it would be a pleasure to have you on there. And good luck with Matchday 13. Who is the best captain? Not a differential or safe. Just who has the most points. I can't tell you that. I don't have a crystal ball, but I personally think it's Benzema or Mane. I'm not sure exactly which. If you have a choice, do you prefer Militao or Casemiro? Casemiro, but I would try to have one Madrid defensive coverage, whether it's Courtois, Militao or someone else. Militao out for Robertson, I think that's a good move. Yes, I prefer Robertson. Yes, Madrid have almost one double, but their first 5 were very corrupt. I agree, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of Madrid. Historically, some of them were done behind closed doors. Yeah, there's even footage of that happening. So, yeah, look, I agree with you, but there you go. It is what it is. History is done, and they've won them. They won those competitions. But yeah, look, they still have extreme pedigree, and even now, they've still translated it into the modern era, and they've found the ways of winning. No problem, Klitsch Gaming. It's all good. Konate or Virgil? I would go for Konate, but up to you there. Is it crazy to play Casemiro and bench Diaz? It's not really that crazy, to be fair, but I would still go for Diaz. Like I said before, the reason why I prefer Konate is because they're identical for ball recoveries, although Van Dijk is slightly better. I think Konate is better in terms of goal contributions. I think he's more likely to score, although both of them have a good chance as well and quite similar in that regard. And also, I just think Konate's been more consistent, since coming into the team. Now, that is a bit of a debatable one because Van Dijk has always got 4 points and above during the knockout stages, but Konate has mainly got 8 to 10 points, 4 out of 5 times between Matchday 7 and Matchday 11, which is very, very impressive. So for me, Konate is my preference, and also the ownership plays a part into that. Play Casemiro, Fabinho or Mendy? Personally, I'd go for Fabinho. Well, Real Madrid won 7 times in the new format of this Champions League. Well, I did say that as well. Look, there's always going to be kind of dodgy decision making and stuff from officials. Even recent Champions Leagues for Madrid, but of course they've earned most of their Champions Leagues, or at least half of them. Bro, is there a FIFA Fantasy League? Very interested, and it will keep us busy. FIFA? I'm talking about, I think you're on about World Cup, aren't you? There will be a World Cup Fantasy, but in terms of FIFA, the game, don't play it. FIFA 22 is awful. It's probably the worst game I've ever played, and there's no fantasy game for that. Sell Militao for Robertson. Yes, like I said before, I would do that for him. Yes. If you take a risk with the captain, then who? For me, it would be Mane or Diaz, I think, if I were to take a risk. Thiago, Modric or Casemiro, I would go for Modric out of those three. It would be Modric, Casemiro and then Thiago. That's the way I'd rank them. I think I'm going to lock in my transfers very soon, by the way. I'm just kind of deliberating, making a few more decisions, and then I will finalise my team. But we're pretty much locked in. We're going to be locked in fairly soon. But I am considering going for maybe a Madrid defender like Militao, for example. But I do like Thiago. I do like Fabinho as an option. He's just so consistent with the ball recoveries. So yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one. I'm just making my final calls, but I think I'm going to be wrapping up. Just checking if there's any other information, something we should be aware of. Once again, in terms of captain, up to you. At the moment, I'm going for Benzema. Robertson or Alaba? Robertson. I'm not sure what you mean, Henry. I'm saying Modric for me is the best. Then it's Casemiro, then Thiago. Militao for me over Alaba. Nottingham Forest or Huddersfield to get into the Premier League? I think actually Huddersfield have a really good record in playoff finals. So that would be interesting. I'm going to back Nottingham Forest though. I'll be honest though, I haven't seen too much of either side. I'm going to have to do some research because one of them will be in the Premier League next season. Their ways of winning was huge pockets after David Beckham joining. Not to knock them for a Ronaldo, Bale, top tier lineups. Hypocritical for Perez to complain about Mbappe. Well, I agree, but I think the control Mbappe has over PSG is pretty absurd, and no player should be on that wage. But if there was any player, it'd be Messi or Ronaldo, not Mbappe, in my opinion. But it is what it is, and yeah, look, Madrid, I do agree with you there, but they do have history, and they have built their history themselves. PSG, obviously, they do have foreign investment, which have contributed to that. Yeah, Shepard, there is World Cup Fantasy in December, well, November is when it starts. So during the summer break, you've got F1 Fantasy if you are interested in Formula 1, but there's nothing else in terms of football. Just preparing for next season and watching the FPL content, the pre-season stuff. But there will be a season review. The plan is to do a season review for FPL tomorrow. For any of you who like FPL, be sure to tune in for that. Alison or Courtois, once again, I go for Courtois. Hey Dylan, last question for me this season. Alaba or Militao to cover Real Madrid defence? I personally go for Militao, Ahmed. Thanks, I've been watching you since last season, and congrats on the 11k, well deserved. Thank you very much, Ahmed. It's been a pleasure, and let me know what you end up doing, but I personally prefer Militao. Atlas or Pachuca, Champions Liga de México. La verdad no tengo idea de esos dos equipos, así que no puedo decir, pero sí, no voy a decir nada. Mane, Salah, Benzema for captain. I'm winning my league by 8 points. I'd personally go for Benzema or Mane, Abhinav, but it's up to you. We had a captaincy poll earlier, Klitsch Gaming, and Benzema won it quite comprehensively. Also, check out my channel, and then you'll see it as well. My final team: Van Dijk, Trent, Konate, Courtois, Diaz, Benzema, Vinicius Jr., Mane, Fabinho, Casemiro, Salah. That's a good team. I'm trying to find ways of improving it, but I think that's very solid, to be fair. Yeah, score prediction. We're going to go through that as well because I'm going to lock in my UCL Fantasy predictor. But yeah, this is what I currently have. No, that's the wrong one. 2-1 Liverpool, but I might change it. I think it's going to go extra time. I've got a bit of a feeling it's going to go extra time. I don't know. There's something about it that screams to me that Madrid are going to win, but I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I'm quite conflicted about this final. In terms of who's the better team, Liverpool, but in the Champions League, that doesn't really matter. In a one-off cup game, anything can happen. Militao, Fabinho. Fabinho for me, I think. If you already have one Real Madrid defensive coverage, whether it's Courtois or another Madrid defender, I'd easily go for Fabinho there. So yeah. Militao or Van Dijk? I would go for Van Dijk. Jack, play Fabinho, Konate. Fabinho has more consistent ball recoveries, but Konate offers goal threat plus more chance of clean sheet. It depends. If you have a back three already, well, you have to have a back three anyway, otherwise you can't have an eligible team. If you've already got a back four, then I definitely go for Fabinho. So basically, if Konate makes it a back four, then yes, I'd easily go for Fabinho, I think. What's your take on Carvajal? He's a decent option. I think in terms of attacking potential, he's the most likely other than Ferland Mendy, but he's not my favourite Madrid option. Let's put it that way. Now, if you back him to do well, go for him. I'd go for Fabinho, striker, but they're both really good. In terms of ball recoveries, they're identical. Fabinho, Van Dijk, I would go for Fabinho if you already have 2 or 3 Liverpool defensive coverage. I wouldn't go quadruple with Van Dijk. I would go for Courtois as the keeper. I don't know why, but I have a gut feeling that Mane would produce a big performance tonight. Yeah, and it could be his last game for Liverpool as well. Yeah, no problem, Jack. Valverde versus Fabinho. For me, it's easy. Fabinho, but up to you. I'm currently second in my league, down by 25 points. Should I go for Rodrigo? It's very tough to kind of claw that deficit, especially if your opponent is active and he's going to have a very similar team to you. But yes, you could go for Rodrigo or just captain Mane as an example, being different, and going for Konate over Van Dijk. I have a feeling Salah can score a brace. I think he can. I just don't know if he will. And that's the kind of big question there. Thank you for UCL Fantasy content throughout the year, and good luck. Thank you, the Frostbite Dev. All the best of luck to you, and thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you, Luis Silva. Mendy or Militao? I'd go for Militao, but Mendy has more attacking potential, especially in terms of assists. Thiago injured now. I'm going to check that, but yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm going for Courtois, Zane. Robertson for me over Konate, although Konate is better for ball recovery, so you could argue he's the better one. I'd go for Van Dijk over Alaba Santiago. Thank you. No problem, and thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to actually try to find out if Thiago is injured, so bear with me for a second. Remember, if any of you are watching in the UK, you can watch the Champions League final live in BT Sport, and I'm not sponsored by them obviously, but you can watch it live on YouTube, for example, so be sure to tune in for that. I'm going to see if there's anything about Thiago. I'm seeing quite a lot of Salah captainers on my feed as well, which is quite interesting. But yeah, quite similar teams. A lot of people going for example, Courtois and the 3 Liverpool defenders. So yeah, that should be pretty good. But yeah, this should be a really good final. I'm trying to get any news on Thiago. That is what I really want to find out. But let's see. Thiago. Wait, what? Yeah, Thiago Alcantara warming up away, rest from the... let me just read that again. Thiago Alcantara is warming up away from the rest of the Liverpool team with a physio. Naby Keita's warming up. So yeah, Thiago could be missing out at the Champions League final. Remember, he's kind of rushed back in, really. So yeah, this is the tweet by Paul Joyce. So yeah, if any of you have Thiago, there you go. And either way, he's not really a kind of someone I really like in UCL Fantasy or FPL for that matter. But really big blow for Liverpool, actually. And wow, that could be a decisive... Yeah, thank you for that, superstar. Yeah, Keita could start. Is there like a half-time substitution for the final in Fantasy? No. The final is the only stage of the UCL Fantasy game where you can't make substitutions. Automatic substitutions can happen if someone in your starting 11 doesn't play at all, but rare. We already did a captaincy poll, Zaid. We already did it. And Benzema won comprehensively. Then it was like 19% for, I think, for Salah, 18% for Mane. And the rest went for Trent, which is where I believe I had as my 4th option. And the rest was Benzema, who won by a landslide. Yeah, James Pearce. Thiago currently doing his own warm-up with one of the fitness staff. Keita's warming up yet. There you go. Your suggestions have really helped me this season. Thank you and good luck, mate. Thank you, Mayuk. It means a lot, and hopefully you can push on and do even better and just enjoy the football, which is the most important thing. Yeah, Thiago injury affects Liverpool defence then. I think, in a way it does, because it affects their ability to control the midfield and to control the tempo. I think Madrid's midfield is better anyway. Take Thiago out of that team and put Keita. I think it's a bit of a mismatch in the midfield. But obviously, look, football's not played on paper. Liverpool can still outdo, outwork, outthink and outplay Madrid's midfield, but it doesn't look good right now. Keita differential then maybe. He's a decent option, but I still think Fabinho, Modric, Mane, no, he's not worth it over those lot that you just said. No, he's not worth it. And even Casemiro, I would add, is better. Hey then, tell me what's up. The lineups are exactly what we expected for both teams. Valverde starting, not Rodrigo for Madrid. Everything else is what you'd expect. Alaba comes back in. For Liverpool, Thiago has been injured, or it looks like he's struggling in the warm-up, so Keita could take his place in the starting 11. Liverpool have pretty much the lineup you'd expect, with Van Dijk and Salah coming back in, as well as Fabinho. Best Madrid defender option in your opinion? Can't spend a transfer to do Alison to Courtois. Militao for me. If not, it would be Ferland Mendy. Keita's underrated. He's better than Hendo anyway. Yeah, well, I'm not trying to be disrespectful there. I don't think he's bad, but he's not on the same level, in my opinion, as Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro. Valverde or Fabinho? I'd go for Fabinho. Gracias por los consejos durante la temporada. Suerte. Igualmente, Cristian. Mucha suerte y gracias por mirar este video. Muchas gracias. Lee Wilson says, Thiago to start. Where did you get that from? But maybe you got it from the stream. I'm not questioning you about that. I'm just trying to see where you got it from. Because I'm quite skeptical when I see something online. Yeah, Klopp is talking right now, but I don't want to play out loud in case of copyright. I'm guessing he's saying it now. Let me know, Lee, if he is. Oh, okay, yeah, TV, so I'm guessing he is Klopp right now then, yeah. Who do you think will score? Benzema and Mane is who I back to score. I'm not sure about the rest. Maybe Diaz, maybe. Thank you very much, by the way. We reached 100 likes. Let's try to just keep on pushing. So if you haven't liked the video already, be sure to smash the like button. We've only got 20 minutes left for the Champions League final. So I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, I always get these kind of questions. How did you start speaking Spanish? I'm from Argentina, so my family, I speak Spanish at home basically, as well as English. I'm going to go through my team actually, and then I will go through your questions once again. But I still think I'm going to go for 3 Liverpool defenders with Courtois in goal. Let me know what you guys think of this. I know a lot of you seem a bit sceptical about captaining Benzema and going for 3 Liverpool defenders, but remember, I do have Courtois coming in to my starting 11. So what the team would be is Courtois in goal, Robertson, Trent and Konate in the defence, Modric, Salah, Fabinho and Mane as the midfield, and Benzema, Vinicius and Diaz complete the team. So let me know what you think. Militao and Alison would be on my bench, both Brazilians. The other 2 would be Laporte and Foden, who are eliminated anyway, so let me know. He could score Rania, but he doesn't have a great record in Champions League finals, or just finals in general. I know he scored against Spurs, it was a penalty. He does have that in his arsenal, but also, I just don't think he's been that good in 2022, especially since returning from the African Cup of Nations. Yeah, that looks good, Ben. Maybe Konate to Mendy. Fair enough. I don't think you need to, personally, but if you think both teams will concede and you don't like going all in on Liverpool defence, technically, then you could go for Konate to Mendy, but I prefer Konate, honestly. And I think your team's well set. Up to you, following who you captain, but I'd go for Benzema or Mane. Every season I make my team by information, helps me a lot, thanks. Thank you, Prianto, means a lot, and hopefully you can wrap up the season very strongly. I'd go for Konate, Philip, personally. Keita starts confirmed, there you go. Salah hat-trick incoming. Yeah, I mean... Are you captaining away, Sing? And same with everyone else who seems to back Salah. Who'd you captain if not Benzema? Mane, Aranya. If you had Robertson or Diaz captain, help me. I would have Diaz captain, probably. I don't think Robertson will be at the top of my agenda. I think Trent is a better captaincy option than Robertson. Are you not playing Courtois? I would be playing Courtois. Yes, I would. The reason why he's on my bench is because I haven't made the transfer yet, so I can't actually bring him in. Fair enough, Waising. Let's wait and see. Yeah, and also Pedro, they're both identical for ball recoveries. They're both very similar, actually, overall. I just went for Konate for lower ownership, or I'm going to go for him because of that. Tech, once again, I'm not really going for anyone. I don't really care who wins. In terms of who I think will win, I'm also very conflicted. But in terms of who I want to win, let's say in normal circumstances, I'd want Liverpool to win because I don't like Madrid that much, if I'm being honest. Just their fans, not all of them, by the way. There's Mohamed, for example, who's a really good guy. But just in general, I don't know, there's a few things I don't like about them. The way they treat Di Maria when he got booted out, really. I don't know. I don't like Perez himself, the entitlement, the corruption in the past. There's a lot of things that I don't like. So normally I'd support Liverpool, but they have won 2 trophies already. So look, may the best team win, basically. That's the way I'm looking at it, and I'm in neutral. If I had to pick one team, maybe right now, as we're approaching the thing, maybe I'd slightly back Liverpool, but honestly, I wouldn't cry if Liverpool lost, basically. Perez, Charles... wait, what? Wait, what is that? Oh, no. I thought you said Charles. No, okay, I'm not even going to say that. But yeah, F1 Fantasy was a bit mad, wasn't it? Malik says same. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's just kind of the way I see it. I'm kind of a neutral in this regard. I think I'm going to make these transfers, by the way. Yes, it seems weird, but look, you're going to lose points in some way or another. There's always going to be one player. A few years ago it was Koeman. I think last year was Havertz. There's always going to be that one player that not everyone expects to be score the winner. It could be Rodrigo this year or even Kroos. You never know. I'm trying to think of someone else. Maybe Jota himself coming off the bench. Who knows what's going to happen? But I think I'm going to make these transfers and back the ones who are starting. So Vinicius, Diaz, Mane, Konate and Courtois would come in for Gabriel Jesus, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember my other forward, actually. Who was? Oh yeah, Diego Jota, Kevin De Bruyne, Joao Cancelo and Edison. So those would be my transfers. I've still got 0.7 million in the bank, so I could go for Van Dijk over Konate, for example, but I think I will be going for the Frenchman. I would go for Van Dijk. Just bear in mind, though, also Van Dijk, he is just coming back off, an injury, so there is still an odd chance he comes off, early if he is struggling, but I think he'll be fine. So, and I'm not saying anyone should care, as I was asked the question by Tech. Robertson or Van Dijk, I would go for Robertson just for his attacking potential, but in terms of ball recoveries, Van Dijk is better, so it's really, really close. Hope this reaches pens, not with a 0-0 or 1-1 though. Yeah, a 2-2 would be great, and going to penalties. Real Madrid is a dark club. Only love you when you sign. Look how they treat their players. Yeah, even Ronaldo, who is probably their best player ever, if not in their top 3. Look how he was treated. He didn't even get a proper send-off. You could say something about Barca with Messi, to be fair. He did seem to be stabbed in the back as well. I agree with you, to be fair. I have 2 million in the bank. Hope it will transfer next season. It won't, Alexei, it won't. Nice content as usual, Dylan. Much love here from South Africa. Thank you, Fenyo. Big up South Africa. Thank you very much, and have a great... I'm not sure what time it is over there, but have a great day, basically. Good luck, Dylan. Will you be disappointed if you don't win your mini-league? The Dylan RCM League, it's very unlikely, mate, because number 1 in the world is in the mini-league, so I'd have to finish number 1. That's very unlikely, so pretty much impossible. So, yeah, in terms of my other mini-leagues, I am top of them, and I've got a very big gap. I'm not really, I'm in a good position in my mini league, there's a lot of great, teams in there, so quite happy with it. Finals delayed by 15 minutes. Oh, wow, really? Looks like we're going to be going on for 50 minutes longer. There you go. So the deadline should change, by the way, for those of you that want to see if there's any kind of impact. Why is it delayed? Why is it delayed though? Yeah, exactly, Harry. That's what I want to know. Drago, if you're looking to chase rank, I'd go for Mane. If you're looking to conserve, I'd go for Benzema. That's pretty much the way I'd go about it. I'm torn between the two as well. I've done my transfer 30 minutes before. I dodged a bullet by not getting Thiago. Yeah, he's not a great option anyway, in my opinion. He's not bad. He's decent. He could have even scored if he started, but I think there's better options. I'd start Courtois, Andrew. I'd start him. Oh, getting people in. Okay, fair enough, yeah. I honestly don't understand how Bale can't get minutes at all. To be fair, he's been injured a lot of the season, but when he is fit, yeah, I don't know. He is disrespected. That's another example, by the way, of Madrid mistreating a club legend. Bale scored one of the best goals of all time in a final against Barcelona. He literally went off the pitch and scored. He scored, crucial goals against Atletico Madrid in the 2014 final, coming off the bench against Liverpool in 2018. He's a legend. Whether they like it or not. You said Mane or Benzema, but who are you going for? Well, at the moment I'm going for Benzema. I've never ducked that question. Most teams are 99% similar anyway, so there isn't too many points to gain lose. I agree, and that's why I'm not expecting too much. The most important thing for me is to conserve, and that's why I might just go for Benzema captain anyway, and I also think he's going to score. That's the most important thing. I think Liverpool fans without tickets have been trying to force their way in. Maybe that is why. Maybe. Liverpool fans are still making their way into the Stade de France after severe congestion and bottlenecks caused chaos on the approach to the stadium. Yeah, it is a bit of a logistical nightmare in terms of transport and accommodation, all of this different, aspects. Camila Cabello is causing the delay. Oh, wow. Okay. For a second, I thought you meant Ceballos. I was like, what? Hey, Dylan, is Messi the best player ever? I haven't seen every play in history, but from what I've seen, I think he is the best ever. I'd also put Maradona in there, although I haven't seen him live. I've seen Messi in a stadium. I'm going to see him again next Wednesday against Italy. I think he is the best player ever. He's got, one of the best goals, per game ratio of any player of all time. He's got over 1,000 goal contributions. He's got the most assists in history. Not only that, he's a fantastic free kick taker, the best dribbler of all time, one of the best playmakers in general of all time. There's so many things in his, that he can boast on, and he could end up being the most successful in terms of trophies won. He's won at both international level and club level. Reached a World Cup final. Very unlucky not to have won it. I think he's the best player ever for me. And if he wins the World Cup, I think that does end a lot of arguments, but there's always going to be different opinions. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's saying. What people are saying in the live chat is spot on. It's been delayed because loads of Liverpool fans are stuck outside the stadium, unable to get an absolute joke of a club. Oh no. Let's relax. Legend and they don't like him. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, look, and Benzema. Bale's played for Spurs as well, but, taking bias aside, he is mistreated there. Do I make a sideways move for Rodrigo over Diaz? Please answer. I wouldn't do that, personally. It's up to you. Back your gut, but I wouldn't do it. Who to captain? Once again, Benzema or Mane. I'm going for Benzema at the moment, but it just depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to conserve rank, I think, once again, Benzema is definitely the play. Mane is the one to kind of chase rank, but really, I think Benzema's the most likely to score of any player, and that's why I'm going for him right now. There's a lot of Q scores by Liverpool fans, yeah, that seems to be the case. I will lock the transfers in now. Yeah, no, I'm not going to leave it. I'm still going to do it before 8 p.m, don't worry. No, Thiago's not starting anymore, I believe. It's going to be Keita taking his place. No, Lee. It's probably going to be Courtois as my defensive coverage. They're playing You Never Walk Alone, and the police are blocking thousands of Liverpool fans from getting into the stadium. Fans who have been out there 1+ hour. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to comment because we don't maybe know the full context. Maybe they're not at fault, whatever. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but it is a bit of a... When was the last time a Champions League final was delayed? That's what I would say. My team right now is Benzema, Vinicius, Diaz, Salah, Mane, Modric, Robertson, Trent, Mendy and Alison. 6 Liverpool players and 4 Madrid players at the moment. And 1 midfield spot left. Who to pick and from which club? Okay, so midfielders, and you've got Mane, Salah, Modric, and... yeah, for me it'd be Fabinho or Casemiro. I'd personally go for Fabinho, but both of them are probably the best ones. It's Keita, apparently, Ezra. I'll double check that for you, but I believe Keita has taken Thiago's spot in the lineup. Yeah, the deadline should also change as well, Hossam. Who to captain? Yeah, kind of just the same old thing. Benzema or Mane? I'm currently going for Benzema. So, yeah. Is the deadline delayed also? I think so, Elliot. They should, but just in case, finalise your transfers now. That's what I would do. I wouldn't wait any longer, in my opinion. So I'm looking to do my transfers now. I'm kind of split on Konate Van Dijk, although I think I will still go for Konate. It's a 50-50 decision that could really backfire either way. Vinicius or Rodrigo is still a good decision to make. Getting rid of Jota can still backfire. Courtois, starting him over Alison is another 50-50. But overall, we're all going to have very similar teams. I'm going to have 4 Madrid players in my starting 11 and 7 Liverpool. And I am backing Liverpool to win it, but it's going to be very close. Very, very close. So I think I'm going to do this just so you can see here. These will be my transfers. Jota to Vinicius, Jesus to Diaz, De Bruyne to Mane, Cancelo to Konate, and Edison to Courtois. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be locking in the next minute or two. Have any favourites or predictions for the World Cup? I think Brazil's winning it with France underperforming massively. I'll be honest, I hope Brazil don't win it. As an Argentina fan, Brazil are our biggest rivals. I think Brazil have a great chance. They're one of the favourites. I think from South America, it's Brazil, Argentina. From Europe, I think Spain and Germany have a great chance, and France. Although the World Cup curse, a lot of people play it, they make a big deal out of it. I don't think France will succumb in the group stages. I think they will go quite far on. Yeah, I agree, Badgeraz, and thank you for your feedback. Brazil's too inexperienced. I don't know about that because they have the likes of Fabinho, Casemiro, Thiago Silva in the squad. They've got Neymar, plenty of experience. Alison and Edison, 2 of the best keepers in the world. They've got Tite, who's got a very experienced manager. He won the Club World Cup, I believe, against Chelsea in 2012. And he's done a fantastic job with Brazil. This will be his last tournament. He's also got like a 70% win record. And actually, if you check his record, they've got I don't know how many games he's got under his belt, but I think he's managed 70 to 100 games for Brazil, and they've conceded 20 goals, something ridiculous like that. They're very solid defensively, and yeah, I hope so, Drake. I hope Argentina win it, but it's going to be tough. They've got a great chance, but there's also 4 or 5 other teams with a great chance as well. I think it's really wide open. Yeah, Courtois for me, Joseph. Yeah, Thiago, yeah, I don't think he's going to start. It's Keita taking his spot. Welcome, Akram. Argentina's team is so strong this year. It's been strong for several years, but there's a lot of strong teams. That's the thing. What I really like is the midfield. That balance, Paredes, De Paul and Lo Celso. Lo Celso he stepped it up since joining Villarreal. He's getting those consistent minutes. They've got a good goalkeeper, Martinez. The defence is solid. Like, if you look at it on paper, Otamendi, Romero, Acuna and Molina, it's not that good, but actually Molina's a promising young right back. He could be joining Atletico Madrid or Juventus. He's one to look out for. Romero is one of the best defenders or young defenders in the world. Otamendi is actually pretty solid right now. I know it sounds crazy. Hopefully I haven't jinxed him. He's actually better than Romero right now. I know a lot of people are going to attack me for that, but he genuinely is really good. Acuna's a solid left back, and you've got Tagliafico. Messi, of course. You've always got a chance with Messi. Di Maria he's a really high level, and he's really good in the big games. Lautaro Martinez is a strong striker. Having said all that, Scaloni's also a very good coach, considering his lack of experience. Having said all that, though, there's a lot of good teams. Like I said, Brazil, I talked about their kind of experienced players earlier. They've got a good manager. Germany got a great manager as well, and they've got some really good players. Anything can happen there. Yeah, Romero is really good. I think Belgium will reach the final. I'll be honest, I thought they would last year in the Euros. I don't really see it now, and I'll talk about this very soon, by the way. I haven't been able to catch up with all the questions. I think in terms of history, it's a really big thing in World Cups. Just think about it. I think only 8 or 9 nations have won the World Cup. You've even got like giants like Netherlands who've never won it, and they really should have won one. I don't know how they haven't. So look, there's a lot. I think it's going to be one of the World Cup winners that have already won it, basically, that are going to win again. And I've kind of narrowed down those 5 teams that I think will do it. I'm going to I'm going to lock in these transfers right now, by the way. So yeah, I'm going to put in Courtois for Alison. And yeah, there we go. I mean, look, Courtois only got 1 haul. Or is it 1 haul or is it 2? 2 hauls in the knockout stages when he saved the penalty against PSG, and also that great performance against Man City, and he got the Man of the Match award. So yeah, I think this is how I'm going to line up. I've already made my transfers, so I made my bed. I think in terms of captaincy, that's the only last final decision I've got to make. But ultimately, I think I'm just going to end up with this. Militao will be on my bench, I think. And yeah. I don't know why I'm doing this, by the way, but I'm just going to put Laporte second sub. Yeah, so that's my team. This is my team. Try to lock in your team just in case. It still says the deadline's at 8 p.m, by the way. Let me refresh the page just to check this. Yeah, the deadline's still at 8, by the way. I thought it would have changed, but yeah, just do your transfers now. But we'll still probably be streaming, maybe for a few minutes more. But the game does start slightly later, 8:15, I believe it is. So yeah, it's the Demon. Thiago is not starting apparently, and it looks like Keita's taking his place. Hi, fantasy football season will be over today. Kind of sad. I'm thinking about making Trent captain. I have a feeling Liverpool win 2-0. Why not, mate? I mean, if you've got that prediction, why not back it and do something like that? But I am personally backing Benzema, Mane and Salah as my top 3 captaincy options, but that's still a really good shout. I think Trent would be my top defender pick this week. Feel bad for Liverpool fans that travelled and have been waiting for hours. Yet many fans have already tweeted that the gates have not been open to let any of them in. That's a bit of a disgrace, isn't it? And also with these UEFA kind of finals, it's kind of a disgrace how both clubs that are in the final, they don't really get enough allocation, which is just bizarre. The winner's guaranteed another trophy. Frankfurt in the Supercar is easy. Look, I think Frankfurt could cause problems like Villarreal did last year when Chelsea almost lost, but yeah, you'd expect whoever wins the Champions League final to also win the Super Cup, and it tends to be the case anyway. The deadline, it looks like the deadline is still 8 p.m, so lock in your teams right now. Wish Dybala could get into that team a bit more. Yeah, it's just Dybala isn't really that consistent. He's really talented, but is he going to get in ahead of Di Maria, Lautaro or Messi? No chance. And the balance is there with those players, and even squad players like Nicolas Gonzalez, they do a job when they come in. So yeah, Argentina have a lot of depth, I'd say, as well. I just hope they can nail hopefully Scaloni can keep on doing what he's been doing, making good decisions, and just sticking with that base that have been successful for the last 3 years. Haven't lost a game since 2019. I mean, if they go unbeaten for the rest of the year, that's the all-time record for the unbeaten streak. You beat Italy, Brazil and Spain for their streaks that they've established before. You win 2 more cups, including the new Finalissima Cup and the World Cup. But it's going to be really tough. Yeah, no Rojo nightmares, but look, when you're up against a player like Mbappe, anything can happen. But yeah, Rojo was actually good in the 2014 World Cup as a left back, not so much in 2018. Yeah, I have no idea, Tech. I actually haven't been checking. I'm going to check the stream and see what's been happening. But yeah, no, they're not really showing at the moment. So yeah, don't rely on penalties, Aranya. What if Salah gets a penalty or something? Would you captain Salah as a differential captain? Yeah, but then what if Benzema gets a penalty? You can also look at it that way. And also, I think Benzema's more likely to score than Salah. That's just the way I see it. So up to you, Aranya. It's up to you. I'd still prefer Mane over Salah, but it's really tough between the two. The World Cup fantasy will be interesting for sure. Shame I can't support Italy for the second time in a row. Oh wow, and yeah, and Italy play Argentina next Wednesday. Should be a great game. But yeah, in terms of the World Cup, I'm surprised, especially after winning the Euros, that they haven't made it. Yeah, I still would go for Modric over Keita, Ezra. I don't know why, but I don't see France doubling this year. In terms of winning the World Cup back to back, I mean, it's very rare to win, back to back World Cups. I think Brazil have done it in the past, and trying to remember anyone else who's done it. It's very rare, basically. So yeah, look, I personally think, I hope Argentina do, but it's going to be tough. There's a lot of good ones. And that would be honestly, England-Brazil final, I wouldn't watch it. That's literally the two teams I don't want it to win it. I know it sounds crazy. And if I had to pick one to win that, it would be England, but honestly, I don't want any of them to win it. Tear gas has been employed outside the stadium. They just said on the stream that is mental. I mean, Paris they've sometimes had these kind of things happen, but I wouldn't have expected it. Is it bad that we've got the exact same team and same captain? Not really. It's going to be quite common. Yeah, look, the deadline has passed, by the way. Benzema is my captain. Yeah, it's a bit weird how they haven't actually changed the deadline for UCL Fantasy. That is pretty bizarre in my opinion. Very, very bizarre. Let me just change that, by the way. So yeah, we've done. That's it. We're done for UCL Fantasy for the season. The Champions League final should have kicked off already, but instead we're waiting. I'm going to answer any more remaining questions, but we'll be wrapping up fairly soon. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in throughout the whole season. It means a lot. And be sure to tune in for the FPL season review. We're looking to do it tomorrow. If there's any changes, I'll let you know. But tomorrow, probably around 6 p.m, we'll be doing a season review. So be sure to check that out as well. More F1 fantasy content along the way, as well as FPL content for next season. I'm going to look to do some upgrades, make some improvements in any way I can, and to improve the content. But thank you very much. We've gone from like 3,000 to 11,000 subscribers in a year. It's huge growth. Thank you very much. And it's been a blast, UCL Fantasy. It's been great. And hopefully we can all cement the ranks we want. Top 1K is what I want. Keita or Fabinho? I'd go for Fabinho, Moises. But yeah, we're locked in. Luckily for me, the predictor, I think I can still make changes. So I want your opinions. I want your help. What would you do with this predictor? So Liverpool Madrid, what are you backing? I actually might put a poll out, by the way, for that. So 60% of you went for Courtois. So who do you back? Jesus. Who to win the Champions League? Liverpool, Real Madrid. Okay. So yeah, be sure to vote in this poll as well. But yeah, I'm going to be locking in my predictor now. And that's pretty much it in terms of this. England will never, well, look, never say never, but I personally don't think they will win the World Cup. Yes, they have a lot of quality, but they also have a few weaknesses in their squad. And look, the manager's done a good job, but I still think, compare him and also just the team in general to the other top teams. I just think they're better. I think, in my opinion, let me know if you disagree. I think Argentina, Brazil, I'd say Spain. I mean, it sounds crazy. I think Spain are a better team as well. France, maybe even a few others as well. But England are still, they've always got a chance. I don't know why they're like top 2 in the odds though. But there you go. Thank you, The Scrambler. Thanks for the UCL content this season. Thank you very much. No legend here, but thank you, mate. And I remember you from even a year or two back as well. So thank you very much. To be fair, I expect the fact that the Stade de France being able to host the final such a quick turnaround because of the whole Russia situation. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is a good point as well. Back my gun, went with Salah captain. I'm backing Liverpool and just felt good about Salah tonight. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm backing Liverpool to win, but I think Benzema's the most likely to score. It's a kind of a team full of contradictions, isn't it? Can't wait for next season. Yes, same here. Same here. 50 minutes to make a pre-final sandwich. Thanks for all the tips this season. Good luck, mate. Good luck tonight. Good luck, John. Enjoy your sandwich. Enjoy the rest of your night. And let's see what this Champions League final has in store for us. It should be a great one. Delay for any further, and Thiago will have recovered from his knock. That's a really good point, yeah. It will be Keita starting, though. Mourinho should come to manage England, win Euro 2024, and retire as a winner of every domestic competition plus history maker. If he does that, he probably has a really good shout of being the best manager of all time, or at least behind Ferguson, Brian Clough, etc. But he is top 3, I think. England will win it for sure. Great generation, better than 2006 or 2010. In terms of team spirit and just as a team, yes, but not in terms of individual quality, of course. But it's not about that. It's about the team. I don't think they win it for sure, though, because like I said, I think Brazil have a better team, and the others that I said before, Argentina. I'd say Germany are also quite similar level, and they're improving now with Hansi Flick. It might be a tournament too early for them, but I think Germany are a threat. I hope they get knocked out early. They're a bit of a nightmare for Argentinians. So yeah, I thought the manager of England had to be English. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't really. If there is a bit of information that contradicts that, then let me know. But I'm pretty sure no nation has the obligation to contract a manager of that nation. Brazil always have Brazilian managers pretty much, except the odd once or twice. Argentina pretty much always have an Argentinian or Italian manager. And actually, South America, there's 10 nations there. 8 of the 10 nations could have an Argentinian manager, which is mind-boggling, by the way. 8 out of 10. Thiago's officially out of the lineup. Yep, it's Keita taking his spot. Thanks, Dylan, for all the content. Thank you, John, for tuning in, mate. Better than 06, no way. Beckham, Lampard, Gerrard, Rooney, all arguably the best in the world level of players. You're also forgetting Cole. Obviously, I think Ashley Cole's so underrated. He's always putting in a 7 out of 10 performance or above. Nobody thinks Mason Mount is at that level. But yeah, I think what we said before, it's about the team. As a team overall, especially team spirit, it's there. I mean, look at the other day. I think Ferdinand and Terry are arguing on Twitter. 12 a.m. in the morning? It's crazy. Yeah, the Belgian manager is Spanish. There's a lot of examples. I'm trying to remember another one, but there's so many. Colombia and who's the other one? Colombia. Almost forgetting the other nation. Oh yeah, Bolivia and Colombia. They don't have a manager yet. Their next manager could be Argentinian. Peru, Argentinian manager. Uruguay have an Uruguay manager, to be fair. Look, there's so many examples of different nationalities. They apparently had a table in the old England camp just for Man United players. Makes a lot of sense thinking back to the old games England played. Yeah, but look at 2010 Spain. Barca versus Real Madrid was vicious sometimes, but they always found a way to push it aside and, set aside the differences. And, they're one of the best international sides of all time. Players coming out to warm up again. Yep, that's good. But is it actually delayed until 8:15? That is the question. But yeah, I'm seeing it now, by the way. It should be 8:15, but let's wait and see. I don't know. I wouldn't be too hopeful. But thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. I'm probably going to lock in my prediction. And I'm not sure about this. First player to score, Benzema? I don't know about that. Maybe I'm going to go for Mane. Whenever I kind of change this, it tends to backfire, by the way. So let's wait and see. But I think I might go for Sadio Mane. A bit weird how Mane, by the way, is classified as a midfielder in this predictor, but Salah is classed as a striker. Although you could maybe see why. I think I might go for something like this. Oh no, it's locked in, isn't it? I can't actually change it. Jesus, it's already locked in, isn't it? Yeah, I can't actually change it. You bloody bastard. It doesn't change it. Yeah, so I've gone for the 2-1 Liverpool. I've gone for the Benzema to score first, but Liverpool to score first. So at least, hopefully, I can cover one of those two scenarios. There you go. Yeah, I'm kind of locked in there. So I can't make any changes there. That's it for the season. And just for a recap, if you haven't seen it already, this is how my team is lining up. Benzema is my captain. I've got Vinicius Jr. and Luis Diaz. Let me just try. This is a bit annoying. Yeah. So that is my front three. I've got Modric, Salah, Fabinho, Mane as the midfield. Robertson, Trent, Konate as an all-out Liverpool defence. But I have Courtois to cover Real Madrid defensive coverage there. Alison and Militao on the bench. Remember, the bench doesn't really matter in this scenario. So all the best of luck for Matchday 13. Hopefully you get the rank you want and end the season very strongly. Thank you very much for all your support. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a single upload or stream in the future. And consider joining us on Patreon and also the YouTube as a channel member. and you can get exclusive early access to all my videos, as well as a whole list of other perks at your disposal. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram here, DylanRCM. It's Dylan_RCM on Instagram. And also, there's a Discord server in the link in the description below. We talk about UCL Fantasy, FPL, and F1 Fantasy. There is channels for every single one of them. There probably will be for the World Cup as well once it arrives. So thank you very much to everyone. I'm going to go through some of your final questions. Yeah, kickoff is delayed to 9:30. It's not a surprise really, because they just came out to warm up, but you know they can't play in 6 minutes again, can they? Yeah. So early predictions for next season UCL. Barca's my dark horse, but I think City to finally win it. I say this every year. You know, I always back City to go far, and they always do, but they just can't do it in the final stages. With Haaland, I think maybe, but they need to sort out the mentality as well. You know, that's what cost them against Madrid. They dominated the game. The first shot on target conceded, and Madrid turned the game around. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons behind that as well. Tear gas used outside the stadium. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? Dylan, hold on. Yeah, we'll try hold on, but we're going to be wrapping up fairly soon. So let's see. I'm going to take a little water break, but we are going to be wrapping up fairly soon. So yeah, like I said before, thank you very much to everyone. We kind of did all the kind of closing statements with, speaking of law here, I've been watching too much of the Johnny Depp trial. Yeah, the final is delayed until 9:30 as things stand. It could be delayed even further. And if it's delayed too much, you could see it being delayed to another day. Imagine that. Penalties would put us at nearly midnight UK time, right? So 9:30, yes, pretty much, because yeah, the game would be 1 hour 30. Yep, we'll be going to 11, but then you have to factor in the breaks. So the 15-minute break at half time. So 11:15 we're talking about. Then we're talking about extra time itself. 11:45. Yep, you're right. It'd go around 12 a.m. basically. Yep, you're absolutely right there, Harry. But there we go. What a weird turn of events. It's actually done. Yes, the plan, Lee, is to do a UCL Fantasy season review. I'm not sure exactly when it would happen. Maybe next week. So I'll talk about how I did my final rank. I'll review every single match day, talk about the transfers I made, the mistakes I made, the things I did well, and how to improve for next season, and also answer your questions. In the meantime, we're going to be doing something identical for FPL tomorrow, probably, for FPL season review. So be sure to check that out. Football fans misbehaving at a final. What's new? Yeah, but for a Champions League final to be delayed, it's very rare. So this is absolutely crazy, isn't it? It's still quite... You know, it's not something we would have anticipated, really. We would have expected this final to have been underway by now. 11 minutes in, there could have been a goal, but we just have to wait a little bit longer. But thank you to everyone. You know, bless your families, bless yourselves. Thank you very much for all the support. Let's try to get to more milestones in the future. And there's going to be more UCL Fantasy content next season. That is the plan currently. There's going to be a season review as well for UCL Fantasy, so check that out. I will be letting you guys know. If you subscribe, you will be notified with anything that I do. The same goes for the FPL season review, more F1 Fantasy content, and FPL preseason content. So I hope to join you there once again. So take care, enjoy the football. Hopefully the game actually starts today on time, and I'll see you next time.